Number 1 Iron Age Booty Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights.
Hey, there he is.
Hey, there he is. How's everybody doing? Oh my
Good.
God,
Wait for
listen
the cheering to end.
I know. It's really long. I know. I need to cut it down, but
He says for the umpteenth time.
I have many things to do, and I'm going to be honest. I don't think about the applause until I press the button, and I'm like, oh yeah. Like every stream, I'm like, oh crap, I still have to cut that down. And there are people who've given me short applauses and long applauses, and I'm like, no, thank you so much. And it's just
And then you don't use them.
Well, no, I'm terrible. Okay, just. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Iron Age Nights. This is the show where we try to introduce you to your next favorite creator, author, comic book writer, movie producer, because there's a couple of those out there, animators and whatnot. And our goal is to what? Oh, I thought you were saying something. Or was that just echo in my ears? Probably just echo. But no, we're trying to introduce you to your new favorite creator because over the years, many franchises that we love have kind of gone to the garbage because of, well, a lot of the leftist ideology that has kind of infected everything. And I don't want right ideology in my stuff either. I just want good stories again. And that's the goal of Iron Age Nights. And I say that for anybody who might be here. So before I introduce my fantastic co-hosts and our absolutely awesome guest, and for those that know the lore, the Thought Dawn is here. Yes, that's right. The Dawn of Thoughts is here. We had to actually get the lore straight because both of us were like, wait, how did that start? But we'll get into that in a minute. Let's say hello to the chat. Over on the Rumble side, that's right. We are live on Rumble as well as YouTube. And I do like to share the Rumble link because the people have fun in Rumble. People like to have fun over there. We've got Guilty Gearhead over in a Rumble, and so far he is the only one over in Rumble right now. So go. Oh, wait, no. Chaozu just joined. Chaozu just got over there. He's there as well. The Rumble chat is actually really fun. I love that. One of these days I'm going to have to do like a Rumble-only stream because then we can really cut loose and just say things that are perfectly within the realms of YouTube's terms of service over on Rumble. John Douglas is over on Rumble as well. Guys joining in over there. Guys, it's a fun chat. It's an absolutely fun chat. And I do encourage people because I know, and I have been told this by my chat, they don't want to send money to the Googles because of YouTube and just Google's shenanigans, but they do like to super chat. Rumble is an alternative for you to do that, and they also take less of a cut. And they also, the other thing that I found out is they actually allow me to transfer that money that you guys give me, like whenever I deem necessary. Once it hits like a certain amount. So I know people like to know that information so they can make informed purchases, obviously, as people who are viewing the show and sending us money. So yeah, if you guys want to send the chats in over there, go over to the Rumble chat. A lot of people seem to like that over there a lot, and I like Rumble chat too. Rumble's been getting easier. They're doing a lot. All right, now down to the YouTube chat, we have Raven Nevermore. We've got Wrangler. We got Maji Chan down there as well. Horizon Talker. Hello, the Lord Otter. What's going on, man? Evely Music. He says, "What's up?" You guys remember that? Are you guys old enough to remember that?
I remember.
Okay. Thank God I'm not the only one. Sorry, I have to say it like that. I can't do the tongue thing though. That's too much. James Craig, what's going on, James?
Hey, James.
That I'm convinced that James is a Terminator from the future because he never shuts down, he never stops, he never sleeps. He just keeps going. I am convinced that James is a robot. And he's got a nuclear reactor powering him, and he just doesn't need to sleep because the amount of work that guy does is crazy. So shout out to you, good sir. Maji Chan has gifted 2 A Drink with Crazy memberships since the stream has started. Thank you so much, Maji Chan, for that. We also have Eric Wag down there. Redoubt Productions. What's going on? Zeb Taylor. What's up, man? Zeb Taylor says, I finally caught a live stream. Dude, awesome. I'm glad that you're here live. Guilty Gearhead, he's double dipping.
As you should.
JVP Music is down there. Talking Pope Press. What's going on, Rob?
Hey,
Rob,
Rob.
I haven't seen you in a hot minute, brother. We got to get Rob back on the stream, and we got to start going back through some of the guests that we've had in the last year.
I'm sure Rob will put more stuff out. I mean, he already has.
I'm sure. The man is nicotine, alcohol, and determination. That's who Rob is. And John A. Douglas, he's double dipping as well. We've got Jose Hernandez down there. He says, "Hail, you beautiful bastard." Thank you so much, sir. Frequency Studios just jumped up in the Rumble chat. What's going on? That it would be Wrangler. He's double dip. Wow, all you double dippers tonight. Interesting. Trippy Soul, how are you doing, good sir? Skunk's Workshop. What's going on, man? Oh, good Lord. The chat, it's too long. No, I think I caught up. And then Lee. Lee is down in the YouTube chat. I need to be on my best behavior now because I know who Lee is and I need to be good. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes. Oh, it has been a good week, a hectic week, a busy week, a tired week, and all of the weeks all in one. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the man, the myth, the legend, the king who forges his crown of iron on the anvil. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Richard of IronAge.media. Good sir, how has your week been?
Busy, but better than the previous week, I think. So, you know.
You were spicy.
No unexpected last minute international travel. So
yeah. When Richard starts to sound like me in the private chat, I'm just like, he's all even keeled, clean language. And when Richard's just like, F these I'm like, oh my God. Richard, are you good?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm good. I just need.
Yeah. Just venting just a little bit. But we're all back to normal now.
I think it's funny.
It's one of those ones where I just we're caught up now and
good.
All things are in order, but just finalizing the first issue of Anvil, which I'm really excited to get to the printer. I want to get it to the printer.
Yes.
And continued to have a few more sales trickle in, which is awesome for issue number 1. And
I'm excited.
And issue number 2, the submission window is closing tomorrow. So if you forgot about that, you better send me an email saying, I forgot. Can I have an extension on my homework? Because you will not get an extension on your homework unless you email me.
You could also be able to have a little bit of a workaround in my gilded. Just saying.
maybe.
But because I don't know, dude. If I told people to send me emails, I'd never check it. So I'm like, DM me in Gilded. Like that's where I will check.
I don't.
Like,
I'm bad at. I ask for the emails because I am pretty diligent about keeping up with those.
Oh.
So.
Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah.
Oh, you're structured. Oh
well,
my God, you're structured.
I can have emails pouring into a single email. So then I just have one place to check. I cannot do that with DMs. But anyway,
I gotcha.
Yeah, I was gonna say Roland's Laws. I got his submission. I've gotten a bunch of submissions from the folks in the chat, and I'm enjoying them. Just trying to figure out the best stories and the best fits. And also, April prompt voting is going on ironage.media. And if you haven't, go check that out. We've got short stories, poetry / flash fiction, and also art submissions. So, all right, that's it. Next up is Mr. Daniel P. Riley over there of Whimsyland.
It is. And before the chat is constantly reminding me, because the chat does this. I am supposed to remind everybody to be like Nemo, ladies and gentlemen. Be like Nemo and go and touch that butt. That's right. The button, the like button. Be like Nemo and touch that butt and let everybody know how much you love these streams. I don't know how much it helps on YouTube. I know it helps an insane amount on Rumble. The more you guys upvote this on Rumble, the more it brings new people in on Rumble. That's an actual thing that I can see. Like, not after, like during the stream. It's crazy. Like, you can see people. It's crazy. So definitely hit the plus button. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on Rumble, hit that plus button. But always, always, always be like Nemo and touch the butt. So, Mr. Daniel P. Riley over on whimsyland.org with that fancy new website of yours. How is everything going?
Good. Not much to report. Everything's still super secret.
Yeah, I know. I've got a week.
1 week left.
1 week left, and then it's no longer going to be super secret. It's no longer.
At least some of it. There will still be super secret projects.
Why? Why do you do this to me? I want to know the things, and you're just like, I'm good. I'm good with it. I'm not good with this. Sorry.
What are you complaining about? You get privy to the things before everybody else does.
Shh. Don't tell them that.
I just make you wait a little less than the chat.
Yeah, I get privy to it like the 5 minutes before you announce it on my stream. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Sometimes.
Oh, God. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to introduce a subscriber of the channel and somebody who has been putting together some works for a while, somebody who has been here to help build the lore of the channel. It's very, very rare that I get to welcome somebody who's actually helped to build the lore of the channel, who's been here for some of my screw-ups, who was the actual target of one of my screw-ups and one of the funniest moments on the channel. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to present to you the fantastic world that is called Underworld Dawn, created by Mr. Calvin Gulotta. How are you doing tonight, good sir?
Doing well. A little nervous. More of a recluse by nature, but very excited to be here.
No, I know how you feel, brother.
Absolutely.
Well, listen. Well, first of all, I have several things to talk about. First of all, let's see that shirt there, buddy.
Oh.
Yeah, there we go. You got the merch.
Is that up for merch? Can we buy that?
So I've been looking at different printers for shirts and other merchandise. The last thing I want is to have any low quality associated with my name. So it's not currently up. The merch store has been a bit of a headache, especially since I do very jealously guard my IP. And if I even read any of the slightest addendum or line that says we own or control your IP, it's an instant no. I don't care how good the website is. I don't care how good the customer service is. If they take any control of my IP, it's not happening. So this shirt will be available that I'm wearing right now. It will be available on the merch store when it does launch. But I was behind on getting that up because of the overhaul that the Underworld Dawn website required. And that had a lot to do with reader feedback, and I'm very happy with what it is now. I do apologize for some people who hate just the color black and how much there is on the website. I am not very good at color
Dude,
palette
that's
matching.
literally everything I wear.
It's fine. Those light mode
like
people
traditional
can.
light.
We don't. They're hardly even people. I think.
Whoa, hold on, whoa, no, whoa, dropping the gauntlet that early? No, I hate dark mode. It's annoying.
My case, really.
Oh God, I hate you so much. Just like really, wow, 6 months. Well, we had a good run on Iron Age Nights. Again, find a new co-host.
I'm a software engineer, so anything that's in bright mode, I can't look at. I'm sorry.
I hate you all. I hate you all.
I can't do it. I have to have Dracula mode on or dark mode, for that.
I will say this: Rumble like defaults to dark mode now, but because of the green that Rumble has aesthetically, it actually looks good. I can't do it on YouTube. It looks like trash on YouTube. Convoy Bebop down in the chat. He gets me. He gets me. That's my boy. He understands. That's my boy down there. I've known him for half my life at this point. But yeah, no. Calvin, man, it's awesome to have you here. And for those who are newer to the chat, can I explain a little bit of that lore that we were talking about?
Go for it.
And then I will totally turn it over to you and let you go through your world and introduce everybody to. And I hope it's okay. I'm going to go off on the fly here. But ladies and gentlemen, I don't think Calvin will bring the thoughts here anymore because he is a committed man. So he has left the thought bots behind and is now a Mr. Calvin Gulotta. And I congratulations to you, sir, for the recent nuptials. Seriously.
Thank you.
So, but for those who don't know, Calvin has been here, subscribing to the channel for and commenting on videos and stuff for a while. And in one live stream, it was right as channel was really growing, and I was doing live streams. All of the thought bots, like all of those Chinese like prawn bots, were like showing up, right? And Calvin, it was like 2 or 3 weeks in a row or something like that. He would comment, and right in the and we'd try to nuke that's actually when I made Trippy Soul a moderator. And right in the middle of the thought bots, like Calvin would show up, right? And like this happened like 2 or 3 times, and I went to go ban the thought bots from the channel, and I nuked Calvin, and I was just like, no! I actually had to go back in on the live stream and give him like special permissions to come back on the channel because there was no easy way to like unban him. And so from that, and so obviously me being me, I said, well, Calvin, if you just stop bringing the thought bots here, you wouldn't get banned. And from there, obviously, he writes this Underworld Dawn story, and the lore got built, and we then called him the Thoughtbot Dawn, or the Dawn of the Thoughtbots, but no longer, because he is a spoken for man, and his book is now, or his creation book, artwork, I don't even know at this point, because I'm sorry I haven't been keeping up as much as I should.
I say it's a graphic novel.
Yeah, it's that one. There you go.
You wrote the script for it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. I was going to say and who was your artist primarily?
So I went through a studio called Light Comics. There were a few different artists that worked on it.
Okay.
I did sketch some of my characters. Obviously, I'm not a very good artist. Otherwise, I would have just done the whole thing on my own. But I figured giving the artist some sort of, semblance of what I'm going for in a character. Descriptions are obviously, good for artists, but having that extra visual element can really help pull it together. So I did draw some of them as well.
That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
excuse me.
Well, I was going to say, I know that you basically just got this thing created, and launched it, it's obviously, well, not obviously, I guess I should say it's part of a longer plan that you have series wise. But what, what was your primary motivation with this in terms of when did you start thinking about it, and why did you decide to go this route? I know you were saying that it's a little bit better of a medium you felt like for what you wanted to do, but what? Just can you walk us through a little bit through your process on how we got to the Underworld Dawn as it stands today?
Sure, happily. Thank you. Great question. I had been writing for a very long time on the side. In fact, none of my friends or family even really knew that I was writing anything as far as my stories go. And right around, I want to say 2015, 2016, I had read an X-Men issue with Iceman in it. And it was really good. It was where Iceman kind of shows Thor who's the real boss on Earth. So in between that, I was looking up any kind of content I could find on Iceman. When's the next issue coming out, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I had learned that. How do I make this YouTube friendly? I had learned that.
You can say what you need to say there. Just don't say the gamer words. You're good. I don't restrict swearing on the channel.
His orientation was being changed.
Oh, yeah, I got
and Iceman being the guy that I favored in the X-Men. I was not okay with changing already established characters. For those who have read my comic and know who Vincenza and Furica are, you would know that I have no problem with, other sexual orientations. I'm fine with that. But I'm not okay with doing it with already established characters. I'm in favor of respecting the source material as it stands. So once I read that, I kind of figured, okay, this isn't going to happen to everybody, right? Well, shocker, it just happened to way too often for my liking. From Superman to Robin to all these other characters, I'm just like, okay, I'm done. I can't stand mainstream media anymore. So I went to my collection of stories and I said to myself, well, at least I have these to retreat to. So I was reading my own stuff, adding scenes, taking scenes away. Granted, this is all stuff I've been doing since 12, 13. So imagine going back and reading what your 12 or 13-year-old self wrote, and you're like, what in the world is this?
No, that's not a thing. And I have actually done that, and that's don't. I'm a songwriter. I'm like, oh, hey, when did I? Nope, we're not going to look at that song anymore.
Yeah, so that's when I started really getting into the space, the indie space as a fan. That's when I found Eric July, just randomly on YouTube. Back when the algorithm actually kind of worked well. And after watching a couple of his videos, I felt like, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who thinks that this shouldn't be happening to already established characters. So I forgot what video he did. One of his videos really kind of gave me the inspiration to not just sit on the sidelines and keep to myself. I should pick a story, pick a theme, and just go for it, see what I can do. Also got to credit Denzel Washington. His fall forward speech really helped with that as well.
That's cool.
So if your question then became, well, why Underworld Dawn? If you had multiple stories to pick from, why did you choose something like Underworld Dawn? And I chose it because it had been a story I wrote more recently. I did not write this when I was 12 or 13.
Well, that's good.
And the reason why I picked it up some of my other stuff is because I was kind of predicting that sorry, I bit my tongue, so my tongue is really hurting me. So
you're good, dude. You're good.
My stuttering.
You're good, man. Don't apologize. It's your show from this point on, so take as much time as you need.
Thank you. So anyway, I kind of figured that the superhero space would most likely be, I don't want to say overcrowded, but lots of competition there. A lot of people doing superheroes. And then I was going to get some of my stories I'd written for children, little boys, little girls. And I was like, at the time when I was picking a story, I'm like, I don't really see a need for this right now. Obviously, there is a need for it now, but like I said, at the time, I didn't see a need for it then. So I read that Underworld Dawn because I don't really see anybody doing, let's just call it Godfather in Hell. I don't see anybody doing that. So to me, it just made sense to pick a story that did not have a lot of competition in its theme.
Would it also be fair of me to say not only just Godfather in Hell, but also with kind of the I get big anime artist style vibes from this as well, especially from an American author, is like I don't see a lot of other people doing that either. But don't. Okay, Frank, maybe Daniel. You keep everything secret. Was that another choice that you made too that you just didn't see a lot of people doing? Or at least the artwork style, I should say.
When I got in contact with Lan, who's the owner of Light Comics, I had told him that I wanted something that was both manga, anime style, and for those of you who read manga, I prefer the chat bubbles of manga, which is why Underworld Dawn has those chat bubbles that are more kind of like open.
Mm-hmm.
I just found them easier to read, just a personal preference. But I also wanted kind of like a more, like, I don't know how to explain it, like more realistic, westernized kind of shading, hardlining, coloring. And if you read the comic and you kind of look at the pictures, the scenes, hopefully you can kind of get that. It's been a sort of a blend between the two as far as style and coloring goes. And I have gotten, and to those of you who have given me these compliments, thank you so much. I've gotten lots of compliments on the art style itself, and I've shared that with the art studio, and they are very thankful that it's being so well received. So yeah, thank you to everybody out there who's, giving those compliments. They really appreciate that.
It looks fantastic. I remember the first time that I saw it, and I believe the first time that I saw it was, I think that was the infamous Saturday stream, and I think that's where my buddy Mike Convoy Bebop, who was in the chat, got drunk enough and started calling me the Iron Age booty daddy. I believe it was that stream that was the first time that I actually saw your artwork, and we were both just losing it over it. It looks gorgeous. It just looks fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. They worked really hard.
They killed it. They killed it 100%.
Absolutely.
One thing that I really enjoy that you with this story, and it's on your website, and so I'm not giving any spoilers away here, but they exist in a world of hell that is in between two of the layers of hell, right? It's kind of like off to the side in between two of the circles of hell. And immediately when I start hearing the circles of hell, I think Dante's Inferno and things like that. Was there anything from like the classic literature or Dante's Inferno that you pulled from specifically? Or was it just you knew about the Nine Rings, you just went for it? How did you come up with that portion of it?
As a story, I love Dante's Inferno. So
at the end of the stream, unless you've already seen it, I would love to show you. It's going to be in a case, and if I show it to you tonight, it's going to forever go in the case. But I've got an 1882 copy of Dante's Inferno.
I heard your wife got that for you.
Yes. Okay, so you love Dante's Inferno. See, I knew I liked this guy.
Yeah, you will see in Underworld Dawn as more and more issues come out. I pulled a lot from Dante's Inferno and a good book, the Bible. I am Catholic, so I'm I'm fairly knowledgeable. I'm not probably as good as I should be as a good Catholic. I'm pretty lax, but I did get a lot of inspiration from both books.
I think that's a lot of us, man. That's not. Oh God. What?
I'm
You
not
didn't see
saying
that.
it.
You
I'm
didn't
not
see
saying
that.
it.
I'm not gonna say it.
You didn't see that. Hey, I'm French and Irish. Alcohol can't hit the ground. That's a sin in my. Sorry, I'm sorry, guy. No, man, and I can see what you're pulling from. I can see the different layers that you're pulling from. I can see the enthusiasm that you have. I I'm gonna kind of jump to the end of the conversation with this comment, but it's not Bud Light, Kikomon. Shut up. God, I hate the chat. No. When I see this, man, this is something I want to see fully animated. I want to see this as an animated series. It looks fantastic. I am I correct in saying, if I remember correctly, this is definitely not a story for the children.
I would highly caution against letting your children read it.
You'd
I've
end up
had
having
people-
to answer some awkward questions. That's for sure.
I've had people message me and say that some of the wording I chose was not triggering to them, but other people who have had sad instances happen in their life. Let's say that.
Oh no.
It might trigger something in them. So I made sure that I put that warning before you can even see the comic there for anybody who may have those tragic experiences. And that's why I made that tweet I think a couple weeks ago when I said, if you think that this is a story where you're not going to hear those kinds of words, you need to take into consideration that the setting. This is not a happy rainbow fun time place. It's not written so.
It's hell.
So if the first issue is triggering anybody, I apologize. But I would not recommend you read any of the other issues then, because I don't want to. It gets much worse. If any of you have read Goblin Slayer or watched it, I'd say it's on that level.
Oh,
it is,
dude. The first episode, I've seen the anime. The first episode is, 10 minutes in, you're just like, my good lord. Okay, so okay, I understand where you're at now.
I had to make the first one. My plan was to not make it so bad that I would turn potential fans away. I don't want to turn anybody away who could be a potential fan. But it will be. I have mentally had to go into a bit of a hard place to write some of this stuff, and I have enough content. If we average around 50 pages per book, volume, issue, whatever you want to call it. I have enough to go for a very long time. I'll say that. And that's just this one. My other stories that I have with their own universes, I have enough content to basically turn Disney's lights out. If I get the funding that I need and the support that I need, I'm very confident, and I'll be all too happy to turn Disney's lights out. I've got that much. Ready to go, by the way.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'm down to help.
And it was this particular image here that makes me make like the anime style reference and the manga style reference, predominantly because I happen to know a lot of people in my chat that are definitely into the waifu artwork, and that is definitely, I think, something on display here. It's I already did. I the chat. No, this artwork here is gorgeous. This is stunning, man. Seriously, your art team just did.
They did.
And oh my god, dude! All of this is just fantastic.
Probably also because I tip them really well that they do a really good job.
Well,
at least I try to. There's some times when money's a little tight that I still tip, but not as much as I would like to. But I definitely tip quite fairly, I would say.
No, and you know what? And people appreciate that. People appreciate that. No, and this here, this is the image, the artwork here. Limbo, lust, gluttony, greed, and then right here, in between greed and wrath, you get the underworld, a special place in hell that's carved out for the most wicked amongst them, or at least
Well, it's its own separate dimension. The entrance is located in hell, but it's in its own separate dimension. And yeah, there were. I don't want to spoil it too much.
Well,
Let's
don't
just say
spoil
there were
it then.
those individuals who did not like their condemnation and decided to pull their demonic powers together and create a whole new dimension.
That's so great. That's so great.
That is the mafioso sort of background of the story.
Oh, hey, I Italian. I tend to be a little biased. So,
Well, I
yeah,
noticed that I noticed that your main character is Sicilian. So, are you Italian or Sicilian?
I'm Sicilian,
Ooh.
but most people, they don't know the difference. So,
No, I'm aware of the difference. I'm aware.
well, you're one of the very, very few, because there are some social experiments I did whenever it would come up a conversation, I would say Sicilian. That some people, I'd be like, "So Italian?" And I'm like, "Yeah, or whatever."
Kind of.
Yeah, I actually don't think it was till like 1942, 43, somewhere around there that Sicily even became a part of Italy.
Mhm.
So
It's very recent.
yeah. Well, a lot of people also think that the mafia is Italian. That's not how it started. It was Sicilian. And in fact, you had to be a certain percentage to even be a part of it. So, and then it got changed from being, 100% Sicilian to now we do 100% Italian and Sicilian, and that kind of got watered down. This is the American mafia, by the way, not the, Cosa Nostra in Sicily or Italy.
So was
God, this looks good.
that was a major factor for you in deciding to write this story, I assume? Or was it just kind of like something that you enjoyed and you came up with a story and then it just was a kind of something that worked out well?
So growing up, I watched a lot of mob movies, anything from The Godfather to, Goodfellas to, comedies like, Analyze This, Analyze That.
Mm-hmm,
And The Irishman, which, on Netflix, I thought was very good. So I had a particular interest in that world. Now, what Clavius and the Malevinci family have in the underworld is more of a traditional mafia mentality there, where they are more about protecting the family and their interests than they are about committing heinous crimes whenever they want without getting permission from one head of the family or another, which is kind of what some movies have devolved into. They've showed the mafia or the mob is kind of like, they're just these crime-ridden gangs, basically.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's Hollywood. I get it. If it sells, it sells. But I like the more traditional, Godfather-esque. You don't make a movie against anyone unless you got permission to do so, or you'll die yourself. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Which, if I know that some people have said that with Underworld Law that I introduce in Underworld Dawn, they kind of like that sort of law that I put into place in the lore. So again, thank you to those who've given me those compliments. I appreciate it.
No, it's really fantastic, man. And it seems like you've come up with a rich world that you've definitely pulled from things from the real world, obviously, but use it to bolster and fill out the story for the readers. And I definitely get the sense that you understand one of the critical elements of storytelling, and that you want to give your readers something familiar enough that they feel like, oh, I know about that. Oh, yeah, I know about that, to really draw them in. Was that a factor for you in choosing these things?
Do you mean in choosing the
Yeah,
bond?
giving some real world familiarity to your readers, or was that not a factor?
Oh, yes, it was. So much so, in fact, if for those who've seen the new updated cover, which thank you for showing, you'll notice that there's what looks like a city in the background. Mm-hmm. So when people see more of the underworld, you'll definitely see more familiarity. And the reason is because at one point, these demons were human. So as humans, we tend to be emotional and like familiar surroundings, which is why, for the most part, except for in certain places of the underworld that you haven't seen yet, it looks relatively familiar.
Right. It did. In fact, there's a lot of things throughout most of this artwork that looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Dress
It makes
style.
the story somewhat relatable too.
It does. It really does. And one of the things that I noticed when I first saw this many months ago is that the artwork, the style that you went with, I was comfortable. I've seen this before, not quite like this, but I'm comfortable with this because I've seen it. I've experienced something like this, and I know that the things that I'm about to see are going to be from places that I know. Whether again the artwork, the dress style of the characters, the Sicilian background, the Italian mob stuff, all of that. Like, I'm comfortable with all that because I've seen it. So I feel like I already know your world, and I don't have the book. And I got that impression when it was like, what, November or December, I think, when you'd first had when I'd first seen this.
I want to say it was just around December. I could be wrong, but I want to say it was around December because that's when I started getting really excited because I was seeing the coloring process and I was trying to be a little more active with, advertising, whether it be on Twitter or, just in the gilded and, areas of that nature. But yeah, I'm very happy that people, yourself included, have caught on to that. And I even, to give you an idea of how much I wanted to consider making the characters as familiar and relatable as possible for you history buffs out there, if you go read Fieker's lore under characters, you'll get a very good indication of when and where she died. And I'll say that. There are Easter eggs everywhere in Underworld Dawn, by the way. In fact, when you see the
kind of
train
obvious
station,
in the way that she's designed.
What was that?
It's kind of obvious in the way that she's designed.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly hope so. I have the amount of work I put into the character design for my characters, it down to their fingernails. It was a huge task, but I'm very happy with what I've created here, and I'm happy with the feedback that's being received as well. And oddly enough, I have not had anybody guess what her coney is, where I got the inspiration for his hairstyle, so to speak. If you look at his tie, hopefully if you're a fan of insects, you can maybe make a good guess. Hopefully. It's also kind of in the name, kind of gives it away a little bit too.
Yeah, I have a question about the world or this dimension, right? So it is fairly, it's relatively human in a lot of respects, somewhat modern. So is this a recent creation, or is this something like what connections to the mortal realm, shall we say, does this place have, and everything else, or is that something that's even ever really touched on?
So, just to understand your question, are you asking if the underworld itself as a dimension was recently created?
Yeah, I mean, how far back does this go, or is this a? It talks about the four dawns, essentially, right? The four families.
Yeah, the ruling family.
And then, like, is this something that has? And I'm sorry if I'm missing something from the comic, but is this an arrangement that's been going on for as long as everybody can remember, kind of thing? Is this a recent development? And if so, how have things, kind of stayed semi-modern? Because it seems to me that it's primarily demons in here, and not necessarily like, damned souls, for example. Well, I don't want to. If that's too far,
it'll be touched on. It's fairly recent. There's more than one reason Clavius is there, and I'll leave it at that. It's a fairly recent creation, and Clavius himself has also recently arrived. That's why hopefully in the first couple of pages you get the sense that I was trying to build, that he's got a very small family right now.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure if that was correlated to like time spent, or if he kind of arrived, if he was one of the founding Dons, or no, he's not.
If he was one of the founding Dons, he wouldn't be
in the position
he wouldn't be picked on by Arconi in the way that he is.
There's some background here too, if you haven't had the chance to read the background. I luckily, whether it was on the supporter live stream or another live stream, I've actually gone through and I've read the backgrounds on this, and so I cheated a little bit, gentlemen. Probably could have sent you his website before the show, but we're live now.
I was say I do know the. I did read the comic. It's just I've read a lot of things.
I helped him
I'm sorry. Do we buy the comic from underworldadon.net?
Well, that was a question I had as well. Is it for sale in its current?
Well, first off, I do want to thank Mr. DP Riley for helping me edit.
You prick! You're keeping secrets from me again? Why?
You should just assume that he's edited until it's stated that he hasn't.
You should just assume that I'm involved somehow at this point.
It's like everybody. Dude, you get around more than the town bicycle.
I mean, who do you think rebuilt his site? No, I'm kidding. No. It's a good looking site, though.
It is.
But yeah, I have gotten some feedback that some of the chat bubbles were kind of taking up too much of the panels, and I'm working with the art studio to trim some of the fat, so to speak. So some dialogue will be removed. Nothing story breaking. Just a few bubbles that aren't really needed for the story. And in fact, that was one of the very many issues I had starting out with Underworld Dawn and turning into a comic is I'm very detailed in the way that I write scenes and character dialogue. So trimming that down for a comic was challenging. In fact, it was initially only going to be 30 pages. But I had a conversation with Lan about costs. And do I want to cut dialogue and keep it at 30 pages, or do I want to maybe up it, spend a little bit more money, and keep a fair amount? I still had to chop a lot up, but keep a fair amount of dialogue. So we arrived at 50 pages. I wanted to do 60, so that there wasn't so much bubble bloat, but it was out of the realm for me to afford. At that time, this venture was twice what I thought it would be, but I did not want to sacrifice so much of my story that it wasn't the best introduction to myself as an indie author that I could present. Of course, without putting myself in any kind of debt. I didn't want that to happen, but I did have to dig into my savings a little bit. But it was well worth it. I'm very happy about it. But yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of dialogue cut, not a lot. It's just some of the chat bubbles. I agree, we're taking up a lot of the paneling, but I'm working with the art studio to get that either trimmed down to make the bubble smaller, but keep the dialogue, or just remove it completely. So yeah, and then I'm sorry, Richard. What was your question before that? I'm not sure if I answered it.
The question.
I don't want to thank Riley there before I answer the question.
He wanted to to ask you was about how you pay for, like, is it something that you purchase or is it free with donations? What's the, what's your plan with that as far as distribution of the comic?
Well, another great question. Thank you. There are two schools of thought that I have right now. When I do a campaign to fund the second book, I'm thinking that I could put in a tier where you spend X amount of dollars and you get the second and first volume for that tier.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm thinking, well, what about the people who just want the first issue right now? I was like, well, I guess I could do a campaign where basically I just charge what it costs me to get the book printed and shipping, and then people can have the first issue. I'm leaning more towards the first category where I offer a respectable monetary wise tier where you get both issues. The reason why I did not make it into a book in the first place is I'm unknown. I'm not ashamed to admit that. No one knows me. So to my thought, to get your name out there a little bit, in the indie field, you kind of have to spend some money to show people what you can do, how good of a writer you are. If you're an artist, how good of an artist you are. You're going to be in the red for a fair while. So Underworld Dawn, the first issue is available freely because I want people to see the story. Who is this guy? What can he write? What's the story about? Am I interested in the story? Versus an author that's well known. You know they're going to write a good story, or you may have supported some of their previous work and you're interested in a new work that you've never known before, but you know them from those previous stories, so you know that they're within a reasonable guess that they're going to have good work. So that's why the first one is not a book yet. But yeah, there are plans to make it purchasable. I'm even looking at going to some of the local conventions, or maybe some of the conventions nationwide. I've looked into getting big cutouts of my characters. I've looked into bringing posters, signage, everything of that nature. So yes, there will definitely be merch. There will definitely the comics will be purchasable. And one thing I do want people to know is, even if the campaign to fund the second issue is not successful, I'm still going to fund it. I'll fund this as long as I have to. It would probably be more along the lines of a yearly release, though. Mm-hmm. It is. It's expensive. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's very expensive to get colorists, line artists that can do this kind of quality, and with as many pages. So I definitely want to continue bringing that quality, but it is very costly. So as much as I would love to do monthly releases, depending on how successful campaigns are, I'll fund it myself, but it'll be yearly releases.
Yeah, and when do you think you're going to be, do you have a campaign date envisioned at this time?
Somewhere around fall. Okay. I'm really trying to build up my fan base right now, and network and connect with different whether it be YouTubers or streamers, etc., to get some ad deals, to get some sponsorship deals, to get my name in Underworld Dawn, the comic out there, to get just to get eyes on it, because obviously I want the campaign to be as successful as possible. But if you do a campaign too early, without having the proper networking channels that could help you get the word out, without having a fair following yourself, I'm not going to say it's not going to be successful, but I'm hedging my bets and trying to make it as successful as possible with, like I said, networking and just getting ads and sponsorships out there and stuff.
I think you've got the right idea too. Is that you're definitely building a fair amount of excitement for what you're doing by releasing enough information. Like, I mean, TV shows, they do ads for the new thing that you haven't seen yet. And I think that at least, and maybe I'm wrong at this, but I think you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you.
I mean, I know I'm really excited for this one. And this is going to be one of the ones that I don't have money to buy all of the projects. I just don't. It's just not a thing. This is one of the ones that I'm going to set aside some stuff for because, one, the lore of the channel, and I don't know. That's just really cool. You've been here for a while and I can support you. But two, I freaking love the artwork. I love that you went the Dante's Inferno route. I love the Italian mafia stuff. You're touching on you're touching on a lot of different parts of my nerd brain. And I really, really want to read this. So when this thing's ready to go, like when this is ready to go, you gotta let us know. I think
yeah, definitely, for sure. And this is just the first story to come. So, when Underworld Dawn becomes self-sustainable, not even any profit yet, that means I can take my money and go towards another book or another story that I have. So while Underworld Dawn is profitable enough to be self-sustaining, I can take my assets and release another story, and then same thing will happen. And eventually, hopefully, I can be profitable enough to do this for full time. As is every creator's dream. Yep. But you have to have some realism. It's not. I don't think it's going to happen until I have probably about 5 of my stories out. Unless I get super lucky and someone wants to offer me like an anime deal, which honestly I might not even take. Like I said,
I was gonna say you gotta be careful about those kinds of things.
So if there's any sort of we retain your IP rights, in perpetuity, you can take your money and shove it. I'm not selling out. And I
wouldn't do that. But
go ahead, Royce. Sorry, go ahead.
I said, and I wouldn't sell it. I'm gonna stretch my legs for a second. This chair is horribly uncomfortable. I need to get a new one. So usually at about an hour, I actually have to stand up and take a break from the chair for a minute. But no, but what I want to say is that there are people out there who are doing some fantastic animation in our sphere, and people working together. And It obviously takes more time because just the massive amounts of money aren't there, but the passion's there. And from everybody that's working in the animation side that I'm seeing on our side, I've seen a few Cider's doing it. He's putting out some good work. Christopher Moonlight Productions is doing some really cool work. And there's been a few other people out there whose names I can't call off the top of my head because I haven't had many interactions. But it's done right. What's up?
I'll name drop a little bit. Skunk's Workshop.
Yeah.
And a couple of other people are batting some ideas around on things we're going to move forward on.
It may take a little longer for the animation to get done, but it's done right. And it's done faithfully to the projects. And that's the cool part. So, I mean, if they come at you and they say, hey, we really want to do this animation with you, like we'll give you a bunch of money, like let's do this animation. All you have to say is, all right, I get to choose the animators, I get to maintain my rights, and we're gonna and so on. And you might still be able to make a bunch of money and hire some animators that you actually trust.
Yeah, I would very much prefer to work with other indies than I would over, like a company. I know if Netflix dropped $1 million on my table and said, hey, let's do this, I'd say, no, go screw yourselves. Sorry, Netflix, not happening.
I don't know. Listen, if somebody drops $1 million on my table, I would hear him out at least. So, I don't blame you, is all I'm saying.
They destroy everything they touch.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Real quick.
That's just how protective I am.
Yeah, real quick.
No, I understand.
I believe I saw it when I was looking at the website, but that was a while ago. You do have a donate link, correct, for people that want to support?
I'm trying to set up Stripe. They want like a business like address or something weird like that. And I'm not a business, so I'm trying to figure out a way around it. That's why I wish PayPal hadn't. Okay, I have to be YouTube friendly. The circumstances were different with PayPal because when they did what they did, I just said, not happening. Sorry, I'm canceling everything. Because I did have that my donation link. That's what I was using, and I didn't need a business anything. It was just, here's a donate link. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do for donations. Stripe is just being a little difficult right now. I've been meaning to get it done, but there have just been other projects that have taken precedent, such as the site overhaul, which was
big, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Work that I did it for my readers. I really did. A lot of people were having trouble with reading on tablet with the kind of the page box being in an odd space, and I can only code for so much. Because the web host automation doesn't play well with hard code sometimes. So I just decided to, for those who saw the old website and have seen the new website, I've ripped basically everything apart and redid everything. But the reading experience is a whole lot better now. I've tested it on tablets, phones, different versions that I could get my hands on. So hopefully there are no more poor reader experiences going forward.
Yeah, I like the gallery style setup a little more than the old page next or hunt tech for the next page.
Yeah, that's all I knew how to. That's all I knew how to code at the time. I think I said at the beginning I'm a software engineer, but I'm not a front end engineer. I'm a back end engineer, so I don't touch front end stuff at all. So, doing HTML and CSS is just, and I had no interest in it. So, coding in something I'm interested in is boring enough. But I wanted a good reader experience, and
did you use a framework?
I think it's much better now.
Did you use a framework for it, or is it like did you manually bang this thing out? Like a JavaScript.
A little bit of both. There's some. So a lot of my hard code, like I said, did not play well with the automation, whatever the automation software that the web host was using. I have no idea what they're using, but it didn't play well. So I had to delete and redo almost all of it, and then parts of it are definitely native to the web host's own framework, like the art gallery. I just used what they had. I was going to do my own, but same thing happened with the old way you would read, where my code just didn't play well with their automation of sizing for different areas. So I was like, fine, I guess I'll just use what they have natively for that art gallery style.
Yeah, I've had people.
It took away all my headache, and it made reading on every device that I could test on much better.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had people ask me about like, hey, what should I use for building a website? And I'm like, I
stay away from Wix.
It's painful question.
In my opinion, stay away from Wix.
I mean, that's kind of
where I was.
I say, but it's definitely it's a tempting trap to fall into initially. But yeah, there's all sorts of things that are kind of wacky, and I'm always like, just you can kind of find something, or you could just spend 20 or 40 hours on YouTube watching tutorials and copying code. But it's
for sure.
It's one of those things. But I think the site looks great, so I'm glad that worked out. And sorry, I just was a little bit curious.
I think it looks better too, honestly. I kind of looked at what other creators were doing for their websites and got inspiration from that. I'm sad that I can't use the custom wallpaper I had made, but there were sizing issues with that as well. Sometimes it'd be stretched out, sometimes it'd be stretched too thin. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go with the solid color then. Again, I wanted the readers to have a good experience, but I'm like, I do not want to sit here for weeks upon weeks trying to figure out what parts of my code will play well with whatever automation software that. So
Yeah.
I'm using Squarespace. If anybody's curious, I'm using Squarespace.
Mhm.
So what you're
it's pretty
saying
good.
is you care about your audience.
Of course.
What a strange concept in today's world.
Well,
A
that's
disturbing suggestion.
Yeah.
well,
who
I
does-
you know, that's also another reason why the merch store is taking a little bit longer. Is I've touched on wanting quality, et cetera, but sometimes I think something would be a good quality, and I'll order it, and I'll wear it and wash it and wear it and wash it and wear it and wash it. And I'll test it to make sure that it is what it's advertised as, and it won't hold up. So for all of current fans I have and the potential fans that may come later, I'm always looking out for you guys and gals. Don't make it triggered that I use guys as a general term, please.
Oh God. No, don't worry about triggering my chat. My chat, you've seen my Gilded, right?
Oh, I know, but future watchers, future subscribers, always gonna.
He thinks somebody's going to watch this after we're off. I don't know. It's optimistic. I enjoy your optimism, sir.
All right. Oh, that's actually an important thing that I do need to. I should have shouted this out. Sorry. So, guys, because of the YouTube algorithm, one of the things. So this live stream will be up for a few days, but I'm actually pulling all live streams down from the main channel and uploading them over to the ADWC replay channel, which was the ADWC gaming channel. I just renamed it because I didn't want to start another channel for live. So, yeah, and just because YouTube's a pain. So if any of my live streams disappear, they will all, I'm hopeful this weekend in between building the new studio room, like I'm just going to run back and forth between the studio room and just upload everything. So on that channel, all of the old Iron Age Nights is the focus. So all of those shows will get up. So for some reason, hey, I really like this interview, but this person said something about this thing and I just can't quite remember. I'd really love to see that interview. Where is it? It will all get posted up there. So just so everybody knows, like if and I also want to let our guests know too. It's like, hey, I was on your show and it's not on your channel anymore. It is still live. I will actively be promoting it. It's just something new that I'm doing with the channel because YouTube doesn't like it when you live stream and do 5 to 10 minute videos on the same channel. I don't know why. And my goal is to bring as many new people to the table as I can for the creators that we're trying to highlight. And so I do have to play the game a little bit. It sucks, but it just kind of got brought up there. So I was like, oh crap, I do need to mention this for new people who are going to be out there. So I want to make sure that I definitely. So Calvin, if you're like in a week, you're like, dude, where'd the live stream go? Like I wanted to it'll always be there. It's just going to get moved from one channel to another. So
I would have just assumed that the three of you were too intimidated by my good looks.
well,
I took it down out of shame.
you're not wrong.
If you get,
I'm French, English, and Irish. I can't compete with a freaking Sicilian. That's just it's not in my bloodline. Like,
Oh no, there's some hot Irish girls, man. Don't sell yourself short.
I'm not an Irish girl though. You
look like one. I told you I was gonna roast you a little bit, man.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, there it is. Good
I was
sir.
gonna say I'm mostly Irish and I could give a shit.
Oh man, that was great.
And actually, speaking of that, I know that a lot of the characters that have popped up are, Italian and Sicilian. There will be other, shall we say, gangs and mafia types in stories. Coffee, Kusa. Excuse me.
Oh, I'm down.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's. I'm very excited to be doing this, and I'm gonna be even more excited when I get to some of the juicier bits that I've been mulling over as far as showing just how, at least in my version of hell, how that's a YouTube friendly way to say it. Grotesque it can be.
There you go. I am down.
Yeah, again, people out there who, if Goblin Slayer was too much for you, this is not going to be the comic for you. Sorry. I've welcome you as fans, obviously. If you like the posters, all that stuff, T-shirts, thank you. But this is I've gone to dark places mentally to write some of this stuff. You have to if you're going to write something that's going to be, again, in my opinion, really gripping and really get people to remember what they read. You kind of have to have that. I don't want to call it shock value, but it is what it is.
Jaw dropping. Would that be a different than like a jaw dropping kind of?
Sure. I lean more towards like spine tingling. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this guy actually put this in a graphic novel or comic or whatever you call it.
I am down.
Take into consideration the setting and who and what they are. Also take into consideration that in my view, humans can be some of the most evil creatures, and it's only expanded upon when they become demonic. Keep that in mind. Keep in mind also that another tidbit of information that I don't think is revealing too much. From people that I know in real life, they've kind of given me a little jabs. Oh, you wear glasses, so you put glasses on, Clavius. Is this? No, it's not. So first about the glasses, some people say that the eyes are the doorway to your soul. There's a reason he's wearing glasses. Keep that in mind. And as far as
I like where you're going.
As far as
Daniel, by the way, you've just been outed.
As far as the name goes, I knew I wanted something that sounded like Latin. And I took the name, I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan, I took the name from two of my favorite Daedric princes, which are Clavicus Vile and Hermaeus Mora. So Aeus from Hermaeus, Clavicus from Clavicus Vile, you take that, you cut them in half, and then you put them together, and that's how I came up with it. And Malevinci is a play on the word malevolent. So keep those details in mind. And I say that because I've taken that consideration to all of my characters. They have their names and their backgrounds and their appearances for more than one reason, just because they look cool.
Mm-hmm.
As they should.
So speaking of that, I was gonna have to ask: is Bleach at all an inspiration for you?
I think you're the only one who's gotten that. Finally, someone gets it. Yes,
that's
Bleach.
mainly because of my wife. She was big into Bleach. So
I was gonna call you a weeb, but I will now have to say Mrs. Weeb.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did wear a nice a weeby shirt for chat tonight. So it's the schoolgirl possum. So
oh god. Oh god.
There you go.
Yeah, Bleach was, as far as the design of the majority of the demons, especially on Firka, I think people can definitely get a Bleach feel for Firka.
Yeah, I kind of figured.
So yeah, I wanted I guess you'd call it demonic representation to be, human in nature with some kind of, monstrous, I guess you could call monstrous demonic elements. They do transform, so keep that in mind as well.
Okay, so they do transform, so that gets. I am assuming, obviously, this is in hell, and they've created an alternate dimension, and I am assuming that there is some version of a magic system or a superpower system that you have tied into this in some, whether it's lower forms or higher forms. I am assuming that there is something of that in this book. It gives the vibe that exists.
It does, and each one is special in its origins. Clavius wields something called the Eld, and that's all I'll say for him.
You and Daniel with your secrets.
Well, I can't reveal too much.
No, but when this is out, I'm doing a full review on this. I have been you've been stringing me along for too long. When this is out and I have it in my hands, I'm doing a full breakdown, getting into the nitty gritty review, full nerd lore. Like, let's go.
I'm interested to see how many Easter eggs you can pick out. And if you can also guess the transportation system, so how did I get from the underworld to all of the rings?
I was going to
Because the
ask
train
if
station
they
when it's
were able to
frozen,
do
there's a
that.
little bit of an Easter egg there. In how
I
they
mean,
do it.
I would say the transportation system. The only thing that I would know that would be that would transport people in hell would be the River Kiran.
I was
I
going to
like-
just
I like
assume it
trains.
was.
You like trains, so is the train Kiran? Sorry, that's the only. Just Dante's Inferno, just
Good
Dante's
man.
Inferno.
I
Huh?
just assume it's public transit because that is hell.
And it smells terrible every
there's-
time.
Although within
No,
the-
Kiran. I'm sorry, Kiran was the ferryman. It was the River Styx. My bad.
Mhm.
The River
Yeah.
Styx and Kiran was the ferryman. My bad. Wow, that was bad on my part. But
Yeah. There's a pretty sweet car in the comic.
I hate you.
Oh, you like that, do you? Do you know what kind of car it is?
No, but I've seen the model before. I just could not place what it's called.
Okay, can I take a is it on your website? Is the car on your website?
It's in the comic?
It's available. Just go on the read section.
Yeah, there's one particular shot with
next.
pretty good. I'm not a big car guy, so I don't know.
Give me a
I
minute.
hope
Give me a
people
minute.
pay
I am not a
attention to the word,
big
isn't it?
car guy, but I'm enough of a car guy that I may be able to. Oh
I
God!
can't say
God,
for
this is
sure what it is.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I can't say for
okay.
sure what it is, but it
Chat.
kind of gives me an old Rolls vibe.
Chat, you've got to go to the read section. Chat, this is incredible. Seriously. I'm looking for the car right now. Otherwise, I would be one of the things that I want to do is I want to actually get a good printer in the house. Oh,
you found it?
yeah, it's God, come on, brain. They actually used the model in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. They actually modeled the six-wheeled car with the tandem front axle off of this car. Come on, Royce. I know what it is. Yeah. It's been a long time since I thought about it. And the traditional one had the eagle. It's not coming to me. Don't stop it. Stop it. It's not going to come to me. I know what it is though. God, that's going to bother me. My
Just
problem
because it's
is,
going to bother you, I'm not going to tell you.
no, I know. Well, so my dream car is actually my dream car that I actually want to buy and restore. I call it like my midlife. I already know what my midlife crisis car is going to be, and that's basically we just want to get pissed off enough, and I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, I'm midlife crisis. I'm buying a car. Is a 1934 Nash Ambassador 8, very similar in style. If you guys,
This model is from the 1920s, so
okay,
if
so
that
it's a
gives
little-
you any kind of indication. But
It
Yeah,
does.
so-
It's just I'm not like I said. I'm enough of a car guy that I could guess, but I'm not that much of a car guy that I can grab the 1920s. Have you ever seen a 1934 Nash Ambassador? Have you ever seen?
I don't yeah.
Consult the Oracle.
Huh?
Said we can consult the Oracle.
We can consult the Oracle. I will just bring up a picture here, but I'll just bring up a picture because this is one of my dream cars. One of these days, I'll buy a shell of it, and I'm going to revamp it completely, do a retro restore on it. But this is essentially my dream car. I want to build a cruiser out of it, but yes. So that's yep, that would be my dream car. So
Yeah, the older cars I just feel are more classy.
oh, I agree, 100%.
You know, my pawpaw, my dad's side, grandpa, we just call him pawpaw.
You're
He's
fine.
a big car guy, and he has always said that, you know, modern cars just really have no style. He can't tell the difference between them in years. But the older cars, you show him a picture of an old car, and he can tell you like what year it is, what year, what make, what engine.
The headlights, the
Sure.
grill, the way that the fenders were, all of that year to year changed. And it gave a very, very unique look to each of the cars.
Yeah, I think it, and again, it's just another example of just how much creativity we've lost in our society. From our buildings to our cars. It's obviously, without a doubt, linked into Hollywood and media. I don't know what happened,
Cars
but
cars all look the same because they have to go through like 5 years of emissions testing, and you can get a body like modification, like body change approved much easier and for much less cost. So yeah, we can literally thank fuel efficiency regulations for why everything looks like the exact same
Okay, I see where you're
smushed
going with
in
that.
a shoe.
I was
So-
almost mad at you, and then okay, yeah, government sucks. Okay, awesome. I'm glad.
Just another example.
But the cool part is if you find those old cars, it's like $25 to register it for the rest of your life. You register it once, you're good to go.
I only
then
get robbed for $25 every year.
Wow.
Anyway, never mind. Sorry.
I'd rather get robbed.
Fair
You know what? Let's
enough.
not start that.
Robbed a little bit
dude.
less.
Dude, Sunday's already going to be a spicy stream. I already have people like let's not make tonight a spicy stream. So, Calvin,
I think
You
I was
started-
right.
huh?
I think I was right after consulting the Oracle. I want to say it's Rolls Royce Phantom.
One of the originals?
it
Yeah.
is.
I knew it was a
It's
Rolls.
the original.
I just couldn't tell.
1928, right? The original was a 1928 Rolls-Royce
I
Phantom.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah, those are worth millions now. That's where I know it from. It was from a Bond film that they had a 1928 Rolls-Royce Phantom. And obviously they didn't destroy the actual car, but they made a mock-up of the car and they destroyed the car, and I hate them for destroying
Yes.
the mock-up.
Makes
of the
you
car.
weep.
It was, yes, but oh God.
Yay, my brain.
Yeah, good job, man.
Yeah, I'm
I
not,
did
it's not like my name's Royce or anything, and I totally could have not gotten that. Yeah. I actually deliberately don't go to Rolls Royce because of my name. Dude, that's fantastic. Oh, dude, there's too many Easter eggs in this. There's
quite a lot.
You have, okay, so, and you don't have to go into detail on this one because this is going to get, but you said you've got enough you can put Disney under. How much are we talking about here? You put your first, how many years worth of, let's say you get on a regular schedule of release, here's my first question. Timeline. What's a regular schedule of release to you? Okay. So how many months apart would the books be? Okay. And then 2, and this is where you're going to have to do some math. How many years of story are you going to be able to give us? If you were to able to hit your perfect schedule, like the money's rolling in, it's paying for itself, it's paying you, it's paying your artists, everything's flowing, you can release however many books a year that you want. How many years of story are we getting out of this?
So you say however many.
So, in your
is this under the assumption that I can release one of each of my stories a month?
Yeah, anything,
Anything. Just, well, specifically
if you
for
essentially had carte blanche to just produce.
If you had carte blanche to produce.
How frequently and for how long?
Yeah. So how many issues, if you had carte blanche, you had all the money in the world, Underworld Dawn would release how many times a year, right? How many issues
just Underworld
a year?
Dawn?
Specifically just Underworld Dawn. But again, and you could say my other projects are also in the middle there. But I want to know specifically for Underworld Dawn, how many years of story or how long of a story do you have planned for it? So if you were to do 4 issues a year, so every 3 months we get a new Underworld Dawn, how long does that story go?
I'd do you one better and just assume that it's one story a month. So if we assume 50 pages per book, that's 12 a year. Just with what I have for Underworld Dawn alone, 5 years?
Holy shit. Attaboy. Attaboy, good sir.
Yeah, if you throw in my, children's stories, I do have superheroes. Although, so when I release my superhero stories, they're not superheroes. I think one big keynote to know about me is I'm not big on superheroes. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they got the balls. I'm going to be honest. I don't think they got the balls to do what. Sorry, I know we're on YouTube, but
you're good. You're good.
I've seen and read too many comics where I'm like, end him right now, and they just don't. And I'm like, all your problems would have been solved if you would have just ended this individual. I think it's a YouTube-friendly way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated that. And so that's how I got into Doctor Doom. And he is my favorite. I'm just going to say superhero, but I know people call him supervillain. Some say anti-hero. He's my favorite. So, yeah, when we get into my superhero stuff, it's not going to be like Superman. Oh, I'm not going to kill you. I'm just no, not that. So yeah, if we include that. If we include all those other stories, and I've got unlimited money, and I'm doing this full time, I'm not working a day job. Probably 8 to 10.
Holy crap.
And I know some people are probably saying this guy's BSing, he doesn't have that. Yes, I do. Stop lying to yourself. I've got it. If you want stories for yourselves, stories for your families, stories for your home, follow me and give me your support, and I'll give them to you. I'm even working on, and I know Shad's kind of working on this as well, but I am writing a book to replace Star Wars. I'm sorry, it's dead. George Lucas did great. I love non-Disney Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is I can't stomach it. I throw up in the mouth every time. I can't do it.
Mm-hmm. It's done.
And if George Lucas isn't going to continue to create, then I will. Never replace is too strong of a word. You can't really replace Star Wars, but for the modern age, I'm working on writing something that will be just as big, if not bigger. What I have currently, I can confidently tell you that nobody's ever done it before. And if it hit the theaters, it would break box office records. I'm confident in that. And to the people out there who may be saying this guy's overconfident, you have to be. If you're underconfident, you're not going to get anywhere in life. Coming from somebody who, YouTube friendly? Coming from somebody who is a very enthusiastic enjoyer of the first even number of the Constitution, you
does it
farther you aim,
does it happen to have anything to do with this?
Farther you land. So, what was that, Royce?
So does it happen to have to do with this thing over here?
It does. It does. Yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
You could say that.
There you go.
So even if I don't hit my even if I don't hit my end goal, I will still go farther than I would have if I wasn't overly confident. That's the best advice I could give someone who's wanting to get into the indie space. You have to be overly confident to the point of almost coming off as narcissistic. But again, that's just my opinion. I think it's a good thing to be that confident in that, instill that confidence in your future fans or your present fans, because the more confident you are in yourself and your work and what you can do, the more confident they'll be in you. So yes, if I get the funding and the support that I need, I would turn Disney's lights out. I'm not joking. I'm not laughing. I'm even smiling.
I mean, to be fair, Disney may be turning its own lights out.
Right. Yeah, it's not exactly a hard thing to do, but given how
but they need somewhere else
ingrained they are.
No, but there definitely needs to be. I mean, obviously, that's one of the tent poles of the Iron Ages that need to create things to fill this void. You know, people keep consuming this stuff because they don't see any alternatives.
Right.
What's, you know, as far as your plans, when you said the campaign probably around the fall, is this, you know, do you have any grand schemes for how you're going to be getting the word out? Just the normal networking? Are we, you know, should we keep the eye out for, you know, the merch store coming around the same time and all the other, you know, potentially a few more pages, things like that?
The merch store will definitely be out before then, for sure.
Okay.
I am trying to work and network with, you know, other streamers, YouTubers, ads. I'm not getting a lot of headway. I'm still relative, you know, I'm unknown. You know, people don't know who I am, and you know, I'll reach out as much as I can, but there's only so much I can do. People, you know, they'll have to, you know, reach back out to me. The list of people I've tried contacting is ever growing, and the list of responses I get back is minuscule by comparison. But you just have to keep, you know, throwing out as many lines as you can. Eventually, you get a bite sometime. I'm not letting that dilute my own confidence. And if I don't, if no one wants any money, no one wants any sponsorships, fine, I'll do it myself. I'll become a YouTuber if I have to. I have no interest in doing that. And the only reason why I have a YouTube channel in the first place is so I can release characters, you know, musics, any animations that I can afford, you know, will be released on YouTube and Rumble. But yeah, as far as keeping your eye open goes, really the best place would be Twitter, and my website would be the #1 best place.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Do you have a mail list yet? Do you have an email list?
Yep.
That you're okay.
In fact, it's the first sign up link you see on the homepage.
Okay. I guess I scrolled right by it.
Way to go.
I tried making the button as big as I could without it being annoying.
Well, maybe it was so big that I just didn't. Wait, never mind. Hold on.
That's not the first time. That's not the first time I've heard that. I hear that quite a lot, actually.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, with the way that Twitter is going with the new management. I'm sorry. I'm not YouTube friendly. I speak my mind a lot, so I'm trying to be, you know, mindful of Royce and what he's built. So I'm trying not to say too much. But
dude, don't worry.
Given
about
management shifts in certain platforms, I'm not confident in the future of many of them. So that's why I built the mailing list.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that basically all indie creators,
#1 resource.
It should be working on a mail list there.
And even if the web host decides, hey, that this guy, you know, we don't like what he's creating, we're going to take his website down. Fine, I'll just put it on my own server.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not foolproof, but it's a lot more robust that way, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that, I don't know. I'm optimistic that we're approaching a time where they're going to be tripping over themselves to stomp on as many things as they possibly can. And there already seem to be, you know, at times running out of steam on some of this. So
I certainly hope so.
I mean, maybe that's optimistic of me, but I feel like it's good to be prepared, and we always need to be ready for these sites to not just ban one of us individually, but to collapse, you know, because I'm not convinced that all of this is going to keep on going forever in its current state. So I think it's good to build your own infrastructure to keep that in mind. And you know, I like that you've been very cognizant of how your IP is handled.
Yeah, that's something that, you know, and I know that a lot of people may get upset at mentioning this, but that's why I tend to ask anybody who works with me to sign a work for hire contract in some form or another. I know that companies use it to take advantage of artists and writers all the time. I do not. I'm not someone who says, "Oh, you created, you help, you created the artwork. They're my characters. You can't display any of it." No, there's actually a clause in my work for hire that you can display anything that you make with my IP. Artists need to be able to show you what they've done. It's basically their portfolios, their resume. I just ask that any monetary avenues are kept solely for me. And also when I went to the Library of Congress to register to copyright my characters and stuff, they required that contract. I couldn't just say, oh, I made this stuff. This is, I'm the creator. Well, we need to make sure that you didn't steal it, first of all, which is very, very good. But they do ask if you did the artwork, and if you didn't yet, you do have to go and get that contract.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that I've kind of run into with like Anvil is that there's not a lot of what would I call it? I don't necessarily want to say like mutually beneficial, but at least reasonably fair contracts. Because everything is extremely one-sided usually, and I probably could technically have been more diligent with some of the contracts as far as particularly with artists, but it's with at least the authors and other key people, it's important to have these things outlined, because I think that there's sort of an aversion to contracts within the indie space because people sort of associate that kind of thing with corporatism, but I don't see it that way at all. I think that one of the things, in my opinion, that can hurt indies is when you don't have contracts and you don't have clearly defined relationships, and you don't have these ways to handle disagreements. Because I would like to think that everybody's going to get along all the time, but at a certain point in time, you eventually, just by the numbers, there's going to be conflicts out there, even if it's not with me personally or you personally. Eventually there will be, and I think it's good that you're taking that angle, because it's
we've even discussed that here just in this show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's professional. Like we when we started this show, I had met Richard the week before, and then he's like, "Hey, let's bring Daniel on," and we're like, "Yeah, let's do this show. This is really, really good." And then it was a show. Like we didn't know each other back then. We know each other a lot better now.
Yeah.
But we didn't know each other, 6-7 months ago, the way that we do now. And I would say that we don't know each other now, assuming this show continues another 4 or 5 years, the way that we will then. But we've even talked about contracts just here with the three of us, just because we don't, just to keep each other honest. And that's the thing, is if people look at a contract as this thing that is a like a slight at them, it's like, okay, you don't want to be honest. But if everybody's like, yeah, no, we can do a contract, let's keep it short, sweet, simple. Let's get the stuff in there that we need to make sure covers our butts, and everybody. It's just a keep each other honest thing. We used to call that a handshake, but in the world that we live in now, it gets a little bit more complicated than that.
Well, and even if you handshake things, you cannot necessarily have a proper understanding of things with people. I have a friend of mine who, right now, is trying to bring to fruition some stuff that she's been working on for a couple months at pretty substantial expense. And it's, one of these things where she was operating on, she at least made sure everything was very clear with some of these individuals. And all of a sudden, one of them is getting cold feet whenever it comes to actually inking the paper. And it's like, that is, obviously it's very frustrating, but it's still at a point where it's like, well, this can be resolved without this individual at this stage, but it's not preferable, But anytime somebody, and I mean, I understand people who see a contract and they go, oh Lord, I don't want to have to read this crap, and everything else. And I understand that kind of general aversion, but like beyond that, it's always kind of a little bit, anxiety inducing whenever you have somebody who doesn't want to make an arrangement. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, for sure. And I do find it awkward to ask somebody to sign a contract. It's not, kind of like you said, it's not I don't like it. I don't want to do it. But in order to protect myself, IP, things of that nature, I have to.
Always protect the IP.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I definitely know how you feel there, Richard, for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I had to pull this up. There is a poll going on in the chat right now, and these are the two leading ladies of the poll, and they're pretty close to neck and neck. So I had to pull this up.
Not surprised.
No, yeah, these are the two leading ladies.
Oddly enough, I have to say I know SA characters can transform, but Vincenza, that's not really what she looks like.
Interesting.
Okay, are you about to make the chat really mad? I feel like you're about to make the chat really mad right now.
Oh, if they like this form, they're going to drool over.
Oh, I see.
Oh!
She
transforms.
Again, she's a succubus. So.
I wish you wouldn't have said that to the chat.
Hey. It gets me fans, maybe it gets me some money, maybe there's some NSFW stuff going on, who knows?
Oh no. Okay, so definitely don't let the kids get a hold of this. Okay.
Yeah, no.
No. He's like,
Nope.
don't.
Like I said, we'll have some awkward conversations if your kids
rated R bedroom theme scenes aside, there are conflicts with certain angels from the Bible that occur that are bloody.
Interesting. Okay, so my kids can watch like Demon Slayer and they're good with it, and I'm good with that too. Like I don't mind a lot of like the bloody stuff. The NSFW stuff though, that's definitely not
for your kids, right?
Not for the kids. No, that's not for the kids.
No.
So
great story, not for the kids.
Right. And one thing that I also wanted to mention is I know that Clavius does have a lot of dialogue in the first couple of pages.
Mm-hmm.
Building a character like that for me was a challenge because he's a schemer. He plots, and I wanted to introduce him as such. But in order to do so, I had to have him explaining a lot of
dialogue.
How he's basically 10 steps ahead of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, going forward, those types of details will not be made available until certain scenes happen. I had to introduce to the audience, this guy is a plotter, he's a schemer. Now, going forward, when he knows a certain detail before it had even ever been mentioned in the story, nobody should be surprised. Because that's one thing, I hate about movies and, anime or manga or comics, anything that I would watch or read. How did that individual know I was going to have in the first place? They're not a 10 steps ahead of you kind of character. How do they know? They all of a sudden know that? Come on. So hopefully, given his introduction, his first couple of pages, people will remember that in the future when he knows something that, maybe. Yeah.
One of the characters that it's actually from one of my favorite anime that a lot of people don't know. Some people do. But Bon Mito from the Get Backers. He's just a crafty, witty type of person. And he's able to put stuff in. And there were scenes in the Get Backers when you're just like, how did he know that? And then you remember, oh, it's Bon. Like, his character is established as he's very perceptive, he's very, understanding of the world that's around him and so on. And it's part of the reason that he's one of my favorite characters in anime, just period. I still hold that anime as probably my top one of all time. Mm-hmm. But when you get a character like that just is perceptive, or they're a schemer or whatever, it's like if you write them well enough, your audience will remember it. And that's one thing that I will say, and I feel like a lot of our sphere of the internet and our sphere of the creative world understands this, but definitely trust your audience. If you trust that your audience will let you know if you screwed up, but definitely trust your audience to a certain regard. Don't worry about holding our hands. Like I said, I'm waiting for this, and I'm waiting for this to the point where like I'm ready to tear it apart, and I'm ready to do a full like deep dive like review on it. And
do you want me to comment if you make any guesses if you're correct?
Oh, dude, I'll do lore videos and all that. This is great. Maybe. I don't know.
I won't. If you're correct and it's a big detail that is something that could spoil the story, I won't let you know if you're
no.
correct.
And it's I like the mystery of stuff. Half the fun of this stuff is guessing what's going to happen next. That's half the fun. And so, but I've also seen creators be very, very tactful in what they say. And they'll just come in and say, like, because I'll do, like, the way that I would do this book, and I'm very much, like, if you're going to get on a regular release schedule or planning on it, like, I'm planning on diving into this. This looks way too good to not.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to get on a regular monthly release schedule.
Not even monthly, just a couple of them a year. I mean,
there would definitely be at least once a year. Again, I can't stress enough how, and I'm not making a pity party or anything. This was very, very expensive.
They all are. Well, what did Lit Dev say he spent on his? Literature Devil said that he spent upwards of 20-30 grand or something on his. And that was before it even went to that was just working with like the artists and stuff like it's very expensive to produce a book like this.
Keep in mind that I hired composers to do the characters' theme music, and I had to hire I don't know if you'd call them, if they're like full animators, but
wait, are you releasing that theme music with a physical CD?
Oh no, not a physical. I'm talking about the YouTube videos that are under. If you go to characters, you see a YouTube video of them.
Okay,
that's their character theme.
Let me rephrase that.
I would eventually like to get a CD for everybody.
I was gonna say, let me rephrase that. Can I get a CD with that? Daniel, you're quiet. Oh, I see what you're doing. That would be cool to have the music like an add-on. Because I know everybody does like MP3 and stuff now, but to have like a disc, just an add-on that people could.
Well, I mean, at a certain point, I feel like this would lend itself to animation, full animation, right? If you're going that far. So
I'm definitely open to it, but for anybody watching this, if you're gonna try to take any sort of IP control, I'm just gonna tell you, I don't care how much money you throw at me. Doesn't matter. In my eyes, once you sell out once, who's to your audience? They're this guy's gonna sell out again. Now, if it's to an indie, if an indie studio were to approach me and say, "Hey, we like your comic, we want to do an animated series, and we would like to have the right to produce it and release it on our site, et cetera, that's fine with me. But I'm not going to do a George Lucas and sign everything over. It's not happening. And I would probably put something in the contract where if I feel the characters are not accurately represented, which I don't think an indie studio would do to me, but if anybody tries to go activist on anything, I retain veto power. Because I don't want too far left, too far right. I'm not thinking about any of that when I'm writing this.
I definitely
the only
don't want
politics that will be in this are the politics people put it in themselves.
the only politics that I like in a story are the politics of the world. That's pertinent to the story. Like that's it. I don't want people like, and people know my opinions on, I mean, that's fine. People know my opinions on stuff. I'm very, very open about that. I don't want my opinions in someone else's story. I don't want somebody to cater to that. I want somebody to write an intelligent, well-told story, and whatever the politics of that world happen to be, as long as they fit well, and I can tell that you're not trying to preach to me from the pulpit, because good God, that gets irritating. I will read it. I don't care. I don't care. I'm telling you. I'm telling you right now. Does Underworld Dawn sound like the graphic novel that perfectly fits my moral philosophy? No. At this point, I am like 90% sure there are titties in the stories. Like at this point, I'm fairly certain that there's going to be some things in the story that are going to go in my weeb chat on Gilded, but we'll get there. What I am certain of is the story's going to be good. It's well thought out, it's well told, and assuming that you're obviously willing to take criticism, which I believe that you are.
Obviously.
If your readers read the first one and said, this seemed a little off, you can go, oh, huh, maybe I should think about that a little more. And you just, you tweak a thing here or there to go, the readers were right. They did catch a mistake there. As long as you're willing to do that stuff.
Obviously open to criticism. And, if anybody wants to contact me at Gilded or Twitter, or the contact form on my website works, you can send me something there as well.
He was very receptive when I gave him feedback.
Yeah, and if I don't know there's a problem, how can I fix it?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't know that someone didn't like, now if someone's going to come to me and say, because in some of my children's stories, I've got old school family values, and say, I don't like that you've got, this little boy growing up thinking he can, this masculine character that he's becoming. Well, I'm sorry. That's, I think, little, boys growing up into men need to have some sort of, guidance in a story form for their parents to read to them. So I guess I should amend my politics statement to say the only politics you'll find in there that are offensive are like, traditional family values, if people find that offensive. The reason why I said it firstly is because I don't consider that political. I don't consider having, a mother and father with good family values to be political. That's just how you're supposed to, raise your kid, whether it be a boy or a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Raise them to be an upstanding member of society, which honestly I think would fix a lot of our issues as a people worldwide. You just raise your child correctly to be a good, like I said, upstanding member of society. A lot of these problems will disappear. And again, this is 100%. My opinion.
Well, I mean, you have to create everything from some I don't know. I'm not one of these people who thinks like all art is political, but as a creative, you've got to start with some frame of reference. You know what I mean? And
you have to have some values as well.
Yeah, I mean, and if you even if you try to convey no values in a or like a total absence of any values within a work, that itself is kind of, like what values you might try to explicitly exclude, leave room for other things to find their way in. If you're trying to write a negative character or something that you consider villainous in some degree, even if you have no heroes, everybody's just anti-heroes all the way down, right?
Even they have a value system.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying is that there's still some value system there. So I think to a certain degree that's unavoidable.
Yeah, if you have no values, what value is there in reading it?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's creating all of the worlds that I've done have taken me, multiple years to do. I've got, if you're a fan of Megas XLR, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember that really old show on Cartoon Network. I dig giant robots. You dig giant robots. We dig giant.
Which one was it? I'm sorry.
Megas XLR.
Yep.
I got a
I'm not
story.
familiar with that one. I think.
I'm surprised, Richard. It's a mech story, basically.
Yeah, maybe I've seen it, but man, I'm.
It was a long time ago.
It was I'm revealing my age. I am a '90s baby, early '90s. But yeah, I've got a story that's kind of like that catered towards young preteens in your teenage years. And I kind of find that, again, in my opinion, in my way of thinking, for the success that I'm looking for, a lot of independent creators are creating alternatives, and that's great. Support them. I certainly do. But personally, I'm not in this to be an alternative. I am in this to be a replacement. Colgate is just, an alternative to Crest. But what happens when, all of these different branches, all these different companies are so anti-good values, let's say, that you have nowhere to go. If you want to eat, you have to shop here. If you want to buy clothing, you have to shop here, regardless of the message that they are showing. You're supporting them unwillingly. So alternatives, again, to my view, to my opinion, will only get you so far. You have to have a replacement. So that's what I'm in this to do and be, is to be a replacement. That's why I have so many stories that span different age groups, that span different universes and worlds. I mean, I've got a really good cowboy story that would make raise your fist extremely happy. I had a Biden joke there that I was going to make, but
why did you do it?
I don't want to get your stream taken down.
Dude, trust me. Dude, have you seen me go off on Sundays?
I have, but if this video were to be taken down, it was because of something I said, I would genuinely feel bad.
You know what I would do? I would go to Twitter
right now.
immediately. I would go to Twitter immediately. I would reach out to some of the larger people who I've met and say, guys, this is ridiculous. And would you do me a favor and just shout out my Rumble? I am not even screwing with you. I would use that to get people over to the Rumble. And I say that for a reason. I say that because I'm without ranting right now, because I'm reaching the point of the night where I'm just tired enough and slightly not coherent enough that my rant wants to come out. But I say this because they want to play these games where they get us to police ourselves in our speech, but not police ourselves in our speech based off of our own moral compass, based off of some arbitrary moral compass that some computer program that they wrote from 75 different developers is amalgamated together. I don't want that. And so if you were to say something on my stream and you got this channel taken down, I would raise absolute hell. And I promise you, I would make sure that sentiment grows into something bigger. That is my personality. That is who I am as a person. So never, there are certain things here, specifically the F word that refers to a certain sexuality type that you can't say on YouTube. That one, okay, maybe let's leave that one out. Obviously the N word, things like that. Political jokes, political humor, just sharing your thoughts, your things like that, go for it. And if they take us down for talking about stuff and we're all we're saying is just sharing our opinions and we're not using overly bombastic language, like that would be ridiculous. And like I said, I know I definitely push limits, on my own channel.
Thank you for letting me know. I'm still a little reserved. I mean, I'm someone who served in the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. So,
dude, I was in the Halo 2 lobbies.
Yeah, that's probably the most free speech, freedom experience I've ever had in my entire life. Everybody said everything.
It
and no
didn't
one
matter.
cared.
Nope.
Nobody
So
cared.
I want that to come back. Honestly, I really do.
Oh, dude, I was
It'd be
13. I was 13 in Halo 2 lobbies, saying just some of the gnarliest stuff.
Hmm.
Like, oh my god.
I have. Yeah, I'm trying really hard, like I said, to be YouTube friendly. But thank you for
Yeah.
letting me know. We're well past my razor fist Biden joke, but I was going
No,
to
he's
say
good.
I've got a Western themed story that would make Razor Fist himself harder than Joe Biden in a preschool. But,
Oh, dude, I had to fight really bad I was gonna make a Biden joke the other day, and it just totally in my rant in one of my videos the other day. Like it just
yeah. So yeah, thanks for letting me know, Marissa. Yeah, appreciate it. Maybe if you have me on again, I'll be a little more.
Oh, there's no if. There's no if. When you get ready to release, I'm telling the guys I'm pulling it. The channel's a drink with crazy, and I am a drink with crazy. We're having you on again when you do the release, and I don't know if we're gonna be your first stream because by then you might draw the attention of some larger people. But when you release, I definitely want to.
If I can give you first dibs on first stream, I definitely will. I've been a follower and enjoyer of your content for a long time now. You, Grandmaster DP Riley himself, Richard. I've got a certain indie kinship bond, with the three of you. That if I can give you first dibs on a stream of anything that I do, you will have it. And this is live, so you've got it. You've got it on video that I told you that I would give you first dibs or crack at it. So if the invitation is there, it will be accepted for sure. Especially considering, whereas that one of the other stories I have is based off of I got a lot of inspiration from Treasure Planet, which I know you're a fan of.
Dude, I love.
So
Ooh,
that story is for both boys and girls. That I think parents will enjoy themselves, but certainly enjoy reading to their children. It's if I would have known that society would have taken the de-evolution range it has decided to take, I probably would have done a children's story first. But at the time, I did not know it would be this bad.
I think you're not alone in your surprise there.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to go downhill, which is why I decided to get involved in the indie content in the first place. But I didn't know it was going to go so downhill so much and for so long that I never would have guessed that Disney would be shooting themselves in the foot. Relatively speaking, YouTube, don't, not literally.
I will say
as
this.
much as they are. I can't when you think about business, I cannot logically think of any reason to do what they're doing to themselves. I have a conspiracy theory of why they're doing it, which I won't share because it's YouTube.
Depopulation. My theory is depopulation. It all follows the narrative.
I always hesitate to ascribe malice to something I can explain as stupidity.
It's not stupidity.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. They have punched
No,
themselves in
'cause
the nuts enough
it's a
times
pattern.
to make no more children of their own.
If it's a singular, you guys are gonna get me off on a rant.
So, do we have any questions in the chat?
Yeah, I was gonna do that. Okay. If it's a pattern, guys, if it's a pattern, if it's a singular action, that there you can ascribe. You can definitely say that it's stupidity over malice. When it is a pattern of behavior, I do not believe, especially at the corporate level, where, by the way, these corporations hire corporate psychologists to go in and see exactly what type of psychological mind games they need to play with the population in order to get them to interact with their posts on Twitter and all of this stuff in order to drive buzz for them. If you guys are familiar with Dave Cullen, also known as Computing Forever, he released a fantastic video as to why he doesn't want to say the names of these companies anymore, because these companies are starting to use that psychological warfare against us. And that, like I did a video the other day talking about the whole bigger is better thing. And like I because it just irritated me how the right got baited into that argument. Dave Cullen came out and said, I'm not really going to talk about and name these companies and name all this stuff because what that does is they're starting to use this stuff against us. This is no longer, we're far past the point where we can ascribe idiocy to it. It is malicious. It 100% is. It is a behavioral pattern at this point. It's not the first time it's being done. It's definitely not going to be the last. And we all know where it's going. We can see where it's coming from. I go and I look up their freaking shareholders. I know who owns these companies. I know where these boards of directors have to answer to. It's all the same people. And when you start connecting those dots, yes, they're fucking malicious.
I don't know, man.
No, don't fucking I don't know me.
No, I have to. Like, come on. Don't quote me because I am somewhat drunk at this point. But I always go back to...
I did it. I have succeeded in life.
Fair, Mike. But I always have to go back to, I believe it was Chris Jericho who said that someone in the WWE corporate office literally sent him an empty package. He was supposed to get a package from the company with material in it, whatever it was, and it was utterly empty, but they still sent the empty box. I can't assume people are evil or malicious.
You're talking about
I have to assume that they're morons.
No. They employ morons, but the people who are writing the rules and coming up with this stuff are not. Again, we get to see the morons on screen, but they have their bosses. We don't get to see their bosses very often.
Well, it's like cartoon henchmen, though.
Yes,
the villain may have a grand Machiavellian plan, but their henchmen are a bunch of dumbass monkeys.
Every chessboard has a pawn on it. And who knows, maybe I'm the pawn for somebody else. I fully accept that because I don't play at that level. When you play at that level, there's
I hear a 4D chess joke coming in.
It's not 40 chess. It's not. Here's what it is. If I can think of it, so can someone else. Why would I? I do not like to assume that other people have less intelligence than I do. If I can think of it, so can someone else. And it would be completely wrong of me and duplicitous of me to say that because I'm thinking of it, they're not. No, if I can think of it, I assume that my enemy is as smart, if not smarter than me, and now I have to be smarter than them. Because if I just say my enemy is dumber than me, then it will catch me off guard. And I cannot live my life like that. I can't.
Take a breath.
Nope. Nope. I want to rant so bad, but this is not the show for it.
Come on. We've already had the wind up. Let it out.
Why? Why would you assume? Why would you assume these people are just making stupid decisions? Why? If you can think of it, so can they. They have the money to think of it. They at this point, like you can almost say like, oh my God, they have more money than God, right? I don't know how much money God has, but I'm assuming it's a lot. But like the analogy stands. If we can think of it, if we can think that these people are working in these ways, if it's a thought that crosses our mind. And I mean, all of us here are fairly young. These motherfuckers are 70 and 80 years old with billions of dollars and have been thinking of this since the early Triassic. It's not that hard to think that these old skeleton bags have not made some deals, greased some palms, and potentially hired some morons to put on a face so that way they can ultimately bring us to this end conclusion that literally results in depopulation. It's not hard to think that somebody almost 3 times my age has 3 times my knowledge. I'm sorry. I mean, Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates are old as hell, and these are the people doing it. You can't tell me that they haven't acquired a level of knowledge or a certain amount of knowledge, especially in the class of people that they are, that we don't in the certain class of people that we are at the age we are. Like, I just, there's timelines here, and the people that are involved here, I just can't believe that the people who are doing this are idiots. I believe that they are horribly smart and that they are using that intelligence against us. And to sit there and say that they're not puts my children in a bad spot in 20 years. And I can't do that. Okay, I'm done.
Feel better?
Yes, actually.
Excellent. Let's go to the chat.
I have to say one thing about this, okay? And that is that Klaus Schwab has a pretty cool fashion sense. I like his outfits. And I don't think a guy like that would be up to any kind of shady stuff. So
he stands really well
I don't
behind
like
the
people with
podium
such
in front of a giant screen.
Such cool fashion and willingness to step outside and dress like Zordon. I don't like people being slandered like that. So I don't want to fight about it.
All right, if Klaus Schwab is Zordon, who the fuck is Alpha? Who the fuck is Alpha 5?
I don't even remember anything from that show except for.
No, Ram, I'm trying not to destroy, and I've almost taken. Trust me, I almost took out my Ghost of Tsushima math. All right, guys, it is time to go to the chat before I rant again. You guys sit there and you poke the bear the whole damn show, and then you're just like, no, Rice, no. Yeah, I feel like that's your. Oh, Al Gore is Alpha 5. Al Gore hasn't been relevant for.
No, Dr. Fauci is Alpha 5. Rangers, we must protect the environment.
Oh boy, that would have been a very that would have been a very, very different Power Rangers. Rangers, we must fight the bad guys. Please get on your suits now.
To protect the climate.
Yeah. Oh, God, don't. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go over to the Super Chats and then some of the other chats that I have saved. This is your last chance to Super Chat. If you feel that you must Super Chat. And if I catch your chats below, if you guys have a question for Calvin Gulotta, we will get there. Or if you have, if you want to bust my balls or bust Richard's balls or Daniel's balls in the chat, this is your last chance to do so. And I won't rant tonight. I already have rant.
Now,
what?
I'm just thinking about Power Rangers being boosted, taking like that to a different.
I'm telling you guys, I don't know if the website still exists.
Anyway. That is the only thing I will say this. Ever since I was a little kid and I was not able to get it at it was like the Toys R Us, and they had them on like the top shelf, but it was the Power Rangers movie had released the first one, and so it had, and Tommy was the White Ranger in it, and I always wanted the White Ranger helmet, but they were like when I was a kid, they were I want to say almost $100 if not more, and they were like metal and all that. God knows how much that specific helmet would be. Out of all of the things that I could ever say that I would want to put on like my nerd wall, because I was just young enough that I didn't catch like the beginning of Power Rangers. I came in after like they kind of had the second generation of them. But so I've always wanted the White Ranger helmet to put on the nerd wall. That would be
only $550. If your social credit score was a little bit higher, I bet you could get that.
Don't.
Why you shouldn't say
do
such
that?
Cruel things about our friend Zordon.
All right, over in the Rumble chat, Redoubt Productions for $2 just now says Freaka is best girl. That is all. She is not. Vincenza. Oh wait, no. Freaka is the best girl. Yes. Freaka is the best girl. Vincenza took Vincenza took second place with 43% of the vote. Eleanor, boy, she only got 9%.
A little shocking, but
Yeah.
Not as
Rika
many
is
I'm
lolly-
not
best girl.
surprised Fierka got first.
Yeah, not as many lolly weaves in the chat.
No, we don't have it yet. I misspelled Fierka. Yes. He's like, fuck, I misspelled Fierka. Yes, it is Fierka. Sorry, I was reading his chat. No, it's fine, Redoubt Productions. Thank you for chatting over in Rumble. Wrangler just now for 420. And that's it. He drops 420 and leaves. And then over here, I have the saved chats. I am actually really glad StreamYard did this update, and now it saves super chats as they come in automatically. So I actually, which is really nice because, yeah, it's hugely useful. Yeah, because I don't have to like worry about like panic saving them and missing them. It just auto saves them as they come in. So it's great. Kikomon. Well, Kikomon had to re-up his membership, so thank you so much because it didn't auto renew. That's strange.
That is strange.
But Kikomon for $2 is show you Kikomon. Massive Panda for $5. Massive Panda has been around for a while. Excellent looking work, Calvin. By the way, is Vincenza single? Asking for a friend.
You know.
Well, if you read the comic, that question's answered.
Well played, good sir. So Massive Panda, just so you know, you have to read the comic to find out if she's single. And then you can let your friend know. Kikomon for $10. And if you guys are watching the chat while I read these, if a good question comes in, let me know and I'll save it. Kikomon for $10 says, Kikomon is busy brewing soy sauce. Can't stick around. Hail Calvin. Hail the Iron Age. I will jump in and out when I can. Woohoo! Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Kikomon. And you have fun brewing your soy sauce.
Thank you,
And or
Kikomon.
sleeping. Huh?
No, I was just saying thank you, Kiko. I'll make sure to thank everybody. So thank you, Kikomon. Appreciate it.
Oh, Kikomon is fantastic.
If any of you are Xiaodo fans, he's a rapper that does a lot of anime-inspired stuff. He has a new track that just came out today, and it has a soy sauce reference in it. So I thought,
that's cool.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, "Ooh, Kikomon moment."
I don't know how to say this properly, so I'm just going to say it as best I can. But I have seen this name before. Stygia. Stygia. I'm going with Stygia. That's what I'm going with. So I'd imagine the Devil and Seven Princess, if they exist in your world, wouldn't be happy with some demons building another dimension. Do they come into conflict? Oh,
Just say
Stygia,
spoilers.
sir, you touched a lore bone there.
Just say spoilers, Calvin.
If I answered that question, even with a yes or no, it would spoil certain aspects. I will say the belief held by individuals, whoever these individuals may be, we don't know. Just because it's a separate dimension doesn't mean it's not their own backyard.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Stygia again. I like the Goblin Slayer manga, so I'll give it a read. So, sir, you definitely got somebody here who's already interested. I'm interested, man. I've been interested since I saw it when you started introducing it.
I believe it's pronounced Stygia.
Stygia. I don't know. I told you I was going for it, okay? Redoubt Productions. And I saved this one here in these chats that I don't announce the dollar amount of. These are just chats that I find that I try to save. Drink with Crazy. Does Underworld Dawn have biblically accurate angels? And I'm assuming the way that angels are described. Okay, to be continued. Redoubt Productions.
Wait for another issue.
Oh, sir. Okay.
All of the casts are represented as they are in the Bible.
That's cool. I dig it. And believe it or not, guys, that is all of the chats that we have for this evening. Also, I'm a lady. Oh, she's a lady. You're part of the 6%. Daniel, how did you say the Stygia name that I said?
Stygia.
Yeah. Also, she's a lady. She's part of the 6% that watches this channel. I have a 6% lady population that watches the channel.
7 if you count Herman.
It's like 6.5 if you count Herman.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. but
6.2875.
Oh God. But yeah, so that is all of the chats that I have for this evening. And I will pass it over to Calvin to give one. Yeah. Oh, McCoppin. I forgot McCoppin too. So we'd be at 7 with McCoppin. Yeah. So I will pass it over to Calvin. Calvin, good sir, where can we find your work and where can we find you to follow what you are doing?
Underworlddawn.net is going to be the best place you can go to. It's got all my socials on there. It's where you can sign up for the mailing list. I do have a kind of a news tab where I put there's only so much I can put in a tweet. So the news tab is where you'll find most of the up-to-date news, and then that mailing list. Once I've built up a fair amount of people in that list, I'll be sending out email updates as well. Because some people just don't want to use Twitter. I don't blame them. And then Twitter, that so you can find me on there as well, where I do post as many updates as I can when I have them, as far as Underworld Dawn content goes. And as I sort of grow as a creator and have more stories, I'll post more in there as well. So yes, website's definitely the best place to go to.
Excellent.
And for anybody who's interested, I know that my art studio Light Comics, they are definitely open to commissions. So they have a Fiverr that you can go to, and actually, why don't I pull up their Fiverr right now and make that link available, because they are looking, like I said, to expand. They're looking to get more commissions, and I can't recommend them enough, honestly, with how amazing that they've been. To me, the work that they've done, obviously looking at the coloring and everything from the comic, you can just see how good they are. And Royce, do I just drop this in the Gilded for you, or
what you can do is
in the
you can
private
hit the
chat
present.
if you
You can hit the present button if you need to. There is a present button down on the bottom, and then you
my
select.
backgrounds are not YouTube friendly. I'm afraid to do that. So I'll put it in the private
just drop
chat.
that link in the private chat. There's a private chat over there. Yeah. My backgrounds
It'll be a Gilded, or not a Gilded. It'll be a Rumble exclusive link.
Right.
There you go.
All right.
See, I know that they are looking to, like I said, get more commissions, and phenomenal. What I will say is this kind of quality does take a little while. So don't expect, if you're going to be doing a comic, it's going to be done in 2 weeks, because it's not. It took a couple months to get this done, but as you can see, his studio does everything. So they're phenomenal studio.
Right on.
How I was just going to ask, like, as far as a single page, how long does a page usually take?
I wouldn't know. I did a bulk order. I ordered everything all at once.
Okay. Okay, I see.
I wouldn't know. And there's also a lot of factors that go into that. How many panels per page do you want? How many, how, graphical are the scenes as far as, how many elements are there? So there's all that to take into consideration as well. So
I am really glad that everybody is so willing. Oh, go ahead.
Bruce. No, I was just gonna say that he used to be one of the top rated sellers, but it says level 2 there right now because people get antsy in waiting for their artwork and they want their stuff to be done in 2 weeks. And my experience is he lets me know, hey, it's gonna take a little longer than what I originally thought. Can I extend the due date? I don't think I've ever told him no. Because again, this kind of quality that he's doing at the price point his studio is doing it at, I truly believe that you really would be very hard pressed to find any better. And that's why, I've told him that I will be working for Underworld Dawn as far as Underworld Dawn is concerned, unless there is some sort of change in quality or fallout. I'll be working with them pretty exclusively as far as Underworld Dawn stuff.
It looks amazing. If you don't have to change artists, please don't. Like, if you don't have to, obviously, if things come up, like, you don't have it,
Yeah, I mean, but within, over here within our Iron Age, if there are indie authors who want to, not authors, indie artists who want to reach out to me and say, hey, I heard you had other stories to do. Can you kind of show me what you've got? I'd be interested in, working with you to do a comic for a children's comic or one of your other comics that you have. I'm very open to that. So.
Good man.
There you go.
Open to collaborating of all kinds, really. If anybody wants to collaborate with me, let me know. Especially if it's wanting to do a collab for like an upcoming convention. Very open to that.
No, dude, I'm excited to see.
So Calvin Gulotta confirmed for IronCon.
What are we doing with that? How much the plane tickets cost me? I'll be there.
The three of us need to discuss this thing because it was a thing, and then it's not a thing, and then it might be a thing, and we need to discuss this, gentlemen.
It's a thing.
We need to start. Well, no, I know 2025 is a thing, but that other thing that we were talking about, like,
yeah, that's another thing.
Well, no, because I want to clarify because I think that we're all on different pages there. No, there's the thing that we were talking about, and I think we're all on different pages. And I'm like, I want to like, I think we could do. I think we could do
there at our weekly meeting, Royce.
Yes, yeah.
The one that's going to happen.
Just be patient.
Our weekly meeting that happened 4 months ago.
Kind of,
Are we at 4 months yet? No, I think our last one was in January. We're over 4 months.
It was.
I mean, it's definitely been longer than 4 months now.
Oh yeah. Oh,
we're pushing 6.
All right. So, Mr. Daniel P. Riley.
Yes, sir.
Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do this week. Okay. I'm going to give you a little bit of a pass. Okay. Because I know you're not the biggest of the shills. However, here's what I am going to say. Because as long as I'm not screwing up my dates, and I'm not. Ladies and gentlemen, I am giving Mr. Daniel P. Riley a pass this week on his shill. Because he has requested that he get next week and he be the topic of discussion and the guest. So next week, I am dubbing the Daniel P. Riley shill stream. It is all about him. He has no choice. He requested it. He will be shilling his projects. He will be sharing his secrets. And I will probably be reaching out to someone to get a guest co-host in as well. Because, well, my normal co-host is ditching me to be on some show where he's got to shill his stuff. So I might be reaching out to someone who will actually...
You're going to talk to some crazy person for a while.
It's all right. Yeah, you guy's an idiot. It's fine. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Daniel P. Riley will not be shilling this week, but next week, it's all Daniel, all the time, full shill, full send. will be reaching out to. I'll reach out to the Gilded, and I'll pick somebody if you guys are interested and you would like to be the guest co-host for next week. And you guys obviously understand the flavor of the show, and you've got some headphones and some version of a microphone that sounds pretty good. We'll let you do it. But yeah, it's all Daniel all the time next week. That is the Daniel P. Riley Shill stream. Maji Chan just sent in a chat. She says Daniel Inquisitor Richard the King Royce. Well, wait, what? So, yeah, Daniel, you get out of it this week, but next week you better shill the hardest you've ever shilled before. Oh, wait, why are you calling it Skunk's Workshop Daniel the Godfather Riley?
That's pretty good.
It's not bad. I mean, he sits in the seat of power.
Yep.
All right. Well, Richard, I'm sorry, but I can't give you a pass this week. You do have to shill, good sir.
That's all right. I do have one regret about this stream before I get into the shilling, which is that we didn't get to see Calvin on the Stairmaster. I thought that we were going to have like an exercise. We were going to have our first Iron Age Nights exercise segment, but instead we got the rant segment, which I still think is pretty special. So
yeah.
You got to save things for the fall.
Career,
the fall
Don
episode
Bot on the Stairmaster.
Yeah, that'll be the fall episode. I'm looking forward to that. So, the main things that I have to talk about are first and foremost that Anvil Magazine issue number 2 submissions are closing tomorrow at midnight. So if you are not going to quite make that and you need just another couple days or something, please send me an email at least so that I know when, know that something's coming. Because if I don't know something's coming, I'm probably going to try and, Daniel and I are going to try and fill other things in there. And issue number 1 is still available for pre-order through In Demand. I was going to close that out, but I've kind of crested the threshold of where it's going to be more economical just to buy more and then hopefully sell those later. So I'm just leaving it open for now. And the April short story submissions are currently up for a vote. If you have a chance, that's a free and easy way to support Iron Age creators, authors, and artists. So go to ironage.media/vote.html, and there you will find all of these submissions for April, as well as the forms to vote for them.
Sir, are you sharing? Are you sharing the links in the chat?
No, I'm not.
You got to share the link. All right, here's Iron.
I know.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with other stuff, and you're not sharing links. Like you're a mod on the channel.
I know, but I don't have it open today.
Oh.
So
slacking.
I didn't pop the chats out.
We are professionals here, ladies and gentlemen.
There we go.
Richard,
Thank you.
I swear I will fire you from mods. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to say that.
You might be professionals. I'm just here to chat and drink.
There we go. But
Dude,
go through, take a look. There are image prompts up for vote. So even if you have only a little bit of time, go take a look at those.
Look at the screen.
No, because I'm probably not doing ads anymore. I would have to massively increase the cost of ads to make them worthwhile for shipping. Because once I put ads in there, it bumps it into a different category for mailing purposes. So issue number 2, probably no ads. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, your dream will have to stay a meme for now.
But Legend of Shalaris,
I can't believe that's a thing. I just cannot.
It's happening. It's happening.
Are you guys in on it?
What?
Deal with it, Royce.
Yes,
I know Daniel is. Are you in on it, Richard?
Vaguely.
Calvin, are you in on it?
Am I in on what?
Exactly.
No, I don't like that answer.
Yeah. Just smile.
What you talking about?
I hate you all.
But anyway,
because I
that's
have
it for
to
me.
read the damn thing. I'm gonna have to read it live. Like I'm just gonna have to do Shalar streams. Like I'm gonna have to literally add another live stream to my schedule every week and just read this damn thing. Oh my god!
You know, I was gonna say we need to trick Royce, and whenever we're like actually setting up contracts or something, we just and be like, "Here, Royce, sign this." It's like he's contractually obligated to do all of the audiobook, like create the audiobook for Legends of Shalar. So not
Mike,
just
I
read it,
swear to
but-
no, Mike, you better not have gotten involved in this.
Oh dear, I think it's already happening.
No. Did Mike get involved in this? How many people in my chat are involved in this meme? Out of all the people that could do a cover, that man would do a cover. And like it's to meme me, so he might even do it pro bono if it's to just meme me. I hate you all. I hate all of you. You're all terrible human beings.
We're the best, chat. That's why.
Yes, and also no.
Yes, and also,
Dude, Herman, I didn't see your super chat. Did you send it in on Rumble or YouTube? It's not.
It's
here.
on YouTube. It's right there. It started 8:31.
it's Herman.
Hi,
Oh,
Calvin. What
okay,
are your
I
thoughts
apparently
on
missed that. I am
Legends of Korra?
sorry. I don't know how I missed that chat. That is strange. Herman P. Hunter. Hi, Calvin. Oh, fuck. I did see this one. That's why I missed it. Okay. What are your thoughts on The Legend of Korra in simulation theory?
Boy, do we have enough time for me to get into that?
You got 20 minutes.
Oh.
Go.
So, I have seen Legend of Korra in its entirety multiple times. My thoughts on it are, if I had to rate it, probably give it a favorable rating of 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. I think that...
You're saying 8 out of 10?
Yeah,
Yes.
8 out of 10. I give it an 80%. Give it a B.
Man, that's probably a little higher than mine.
Well, simply because I could never get into The Last Airbender. I thought that the animation was...
I will say
okay.
this. The animation in Korra was better.
Yes, I wish that I could be
One
in
of
the
the-
party of, graphics don't matter. Enjoy it for what it is. If it's not visually pleasing, again, at least to me, it's a little hard to watch. And that's not to say, something that's I wouldn't not watch something because it wasn't visually the best. I mean, but it just The Last Airbender I couldn't really get into that much. Aang was annoying. Zuko's probably the one that I really liked.
I agree.
So, in The Legend of Korra, I don't. There are a lot more interesting characters for me personally. In Legend of Korra, I think the story was really well written. The villains
Really?
they did a good job on. Yeah, I really do.
I think the plot elements were well laid out. I disagree. The story was well written. The lead into from season 2 into season 3. I feel that season 3 was fantastic. Season 3 I feel stands up with the original series. I really like the original series. I don't know if I would say that the story itself was well written. There seemed to be a lot of contradictory scenes, especially season 2 really had some. But I didn't like the having been a fan of the original series, it seemed like there were a lot of the characters were almost parodies of some of the original ones from the original series. That's just my...
See, I say it's well written because I never really saw the first. I mean, I saw Last Airbender a fair amount, but I never watched the whole thing. So I'm probably looking at it through a different lens than you, Royce.
No, well, and So a lot
I
of
think
people give me
Amon was
crap on it.
was probably my favorite villain that they did.
Who
I
is?
really liked Amon, the first villain
Really? He's your
they
favorite?
did. Yeah, I really do think he's my favorite.
I
Because
always thought, what is it, Zahir from the third season?
I didn't like Zahir.
Why? Are you kidding me? He was
that
a villain
trope
of
has been
Korra's
done too many
making. She
times.
literally screws up and had to pay for the sin of like doing the thing that created him. How is that not just a fantastic story element?
Oh, I'm not saying it's not a fantastic story element. I'm just saying, as far as character goes, I didn't really like him that much. I liked Amon better because there was more mystery, and he had to really think about what he was doing. There was kind of subterfuge there, and even though he had the power to basically wipe anybody out he wanted to, he preferred to use more subtle more subtle methodology. And again, personal opinion, I just think he was the best.
That's fine. I can't really argue with. I can't. I can't. I mean, if it's a personal opinion thing, I can't argue with you on that one because it's hard to argue personal opinion. Story elements and story beats. I
didn't like it
plot
enough to make a full statement. Like I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, my biggest thing with Korra is a lot of people give Korra a whole bunch of crap, and I think they give because we entered like a really like fourth wave feminist type stuff like shortly after Korra was aired, you know, and so I think a lot of people take what happened with the woke movement and they inject it into Korra, and I think Korra gets unfairly criticized from that lens. From something that really didn't happen until years after it was over. And a lot of people, oh, she's a Mary Sue. No, she's not, because I've seen the whole series and Mary Sues don't almost die ever. Mary Sues also don't get treated the way that they do by their friends and the people that they trust and ruin relationships. Like she's not a Mary Sue. I've always argued that like that's the one thing that just bothered me is I feel that so many people would just say, well, she's a Mary Sue, and I'm like, but she's not. And that's a hot
She struggled a lot. And that's again why I think the story was good, because it wasn't just she's this OP character that never struggles. You know, there was a lot of goings on emotionally in that story. Some of it was corny. It seemed like the writers couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with Mako. Like, you know, love interest wise.
Or his brother.
Yeah, I just
I
like Mako as a character. I don't think he was done well in later seasons. I loved him in the first season, but as it went on, I just didn't really like him that much. I even forgot his brother's name. I didn't like his brother that much.
I like the inventor guy, and he would tell his assistant, he's like, Julie, do the thing. I don't even remember the guy's name. I just always remember that.
Oh yeah, he was a really good side character.
No, as a side character, he's great. Great. Okay. We're not going to get into simulation theory, Herman.
Sorry.
I'm not doing simulation theory tonight. I fucking hate simulation theory. It breaks my brain and it genuinely terrifies me. Also, everybody for that Korra conversation, you can blame Herman. So
we know.
Yeah. That show has were you there for the Literature Devil Iron Age Nights? Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. It's been a hot minute since I've seen it because I was there when it originally was streaming live. But yes, I was there for that.
I have watched that stream intently 3 or 4 times since it has happened. Because I was trying to figure out what the hell I did wrong, and I couldn't figure it all out in one go. I've probably, like a football player would watch film of how they play and what they were doing right and wrong. That's what I did with that stream. I messaged Literature Devil probably like a month later, and I was like, hey, I just want you to know, one, I apologize for that. Like, my bad. I was a big fan of yours, and my fan brain just got the better of me. But 2, you taught me a lot. Like that's the stream that the Yu-Gi-Oh cards fell. That's the stream I went on a rant about what was it? my buddy getting pistol whipped by some female sergeant in the military. Raw milk was another rant that I went on. We talked about Cora. It was supposed to be about
Geneva suggestion violations.
I just don't even remember. It was terrible. But it is.
My goal now after the 2-hour mark is to get Royce to rant and go off.
I told you guys I would stop. I told you.
Yeah, but now I'm trying to goad you into it.
I know. Why would you do that?
Because it's fun.
You guys are terrible. You guys are horrible co-hosts.
I'm not.
Am R2.
Am not.
R2.
Am not.
2 R2. Oh, Calvin, that was great, man. Thank you so much for being here, dude. I think you got a lot of people excited tonight about what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And thank you everybody who showed up and watched.
Oh, yeah. No, we're going to have you back. We're going to have you back. Kicking and screaming, I will bring you back on the show. So, and the harder you kick and the harder you scream, the more fun it is.
Hey, don't throw me in a good time.
Oh, shit, that's right. You're Sicilian. Wait. I take that back because I'm going to end up in the bad spot here.
No, forget about it. No, I'm making an offer you can't refuse.
You'll end up with a horse head in your bed.
Oh, great. Oh, no. Oh, God. Oh, man. Have a good night, everybody. Guilty Gearhead, we know it's the mic. We know the mic is dead.
What? The mic is still on?
I know, right?
Oh, my
Hot
goodness.
take. Oh, no.
Shock.
Oh.
Dismay.
Good night, Skunks Workshop. Later, 10 Cage. Have a good one, Wrangler. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into Iron Age Nights. Do not forget to tune in every single Friday, 8 p.m. Central. Next week, we've got Mr. Daniel P. Riley on the Shill stream. Cheers, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.